Yeah, Frank here. He's got his own billiard room.
Yes, it's what do you call it, Kramer? The billiard room? No. The name. The billiard? Not the billiards. It was. Come on, Rudy. Come on. We call it the place to be. The place to be. Yes, it's the place to be. Then I shall be there.
Now, it's time. Live and in living color.
The Grandy Man can.
Time to play the game.
Well, you always left me satisfied and smiling, so.
That's what she said.
Why do I want this?
Yeah.
Because I want to make bank, bro. I want to get ass. I want to drive a Range Rover.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is now time for the Place to Be podcast. And now your hosts, Justin Rosero and Scott Criscolo.
Yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. I put it down from the whip for my diamonds. I'm in black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Black stripe, yellow paint. I hear they're scared of it, but them pros ain't.
What is going on, Place to Be Nation? I am your co-host, Justin Rosero, and tonight we have a super jam-packed episode in store for you. We are going to be breaking down the Major League Baseball 2011 season. We're going to go ahead and give our predictions. We're not going to go in depth with the teams because we just did that when we did our off-season breakdown, but we're going to just kind of run through the divisions, give our predictions, award predictions, and playoff predictions as well. And then we are also going to break down this past Sunday's Wrestlemania as well as get to some feedback. So let me go ahead and bring in my PIC here on the Place to Be, and that's Scott Criscolo. Scott, how you doing?
Good evening, Mr. Rosero. Pleasure to be with you as always. How you doing? Good. We got a jam-packed cornucopia of topics tonight.
Yes, indeed.
And,
so what we'll do here, and as we've kind of done in the past few podcasts, when we have things split up, we're going to hit up the baseball first, and then we'll let everyone know when we're going to switch over to WrestleMania. As you do know, we have a pretty diverse audience. So,
yes.
If you want to go ahead and skip over WrestleMania, feel free. For those who enjoy both, I hope you enjoy the whole show. But we are going to go ahead and start off with our 2011 MLB predictions. Now, of course, the season's already about 3 or 4 games in for some teams, so, we were planning to hopefully get this in before the season started, but it just didn't work out time-wise. But I think we could still go ahead and make predictions, based on 4 games not meeting as much. Although, a stat I did read tonight that I'm going to use to tweak some Red Sox fans, no team has ever won the World Series after starting 0-4. It's crazy to think about. This is a 162-game season, but they are on the precipice of going 0-4 because they are losing 3-1 to Cleveland as we speak.
So. I mean, they did get swept by a pretty good Texas team, so it's not like they got swept by the Royals or anything.
Right, but it's just fun tweaking fodder. Hopefully they'll be out. Although I shouldn't talk because the Yankees just blew a 4-0 lead in the 8th. So,
well, let's we got a lot to dive into. I mean, look at Baltimore. Look at the start they're off to. And
what's funny? I saw something the other day. They since August 1st, they are at the healthily the best AL East team since August 1st last year by like 6 or 7 games over. Actually, I think Toronto was second, to be honest. And then it was Tampa, funny. And then the Yankees or Red Sox since August 1st last year. So Baltimore's actually been pretty good for a few months now.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, well, why don't we do this? Since obviously Justin's and my teams are both in the same city, but different divisions, because his team is going to probably have a better year. Although we may actually have a better record than you when the night is over. Who knows? We'll start out west, and we'll actually start in the division of the defending world champions, and that is, of course, the National League West, home of the defending world champion San Francisco Giants. Of course, that also includes the Colorado Rockies, the San Diego Padres, the LA Dodgers, and the Arizona Diamondbacks.
And the way we're going to go and do this is, like I mentioned in the open, we already went through, the teams, the rosters, what we thought and liked about each team. So what we're going to do here is just kind of quickly, each of us will give how we see the division falling, and then maybe we'll just pick 1 or 2 points to talk about and why we see things going that way.
Right. All right, well, I'll start. National League West, as much as I was fully on the Giants bandwagon last year, I don't think they're going to win the division again.
Mm-hmm.
I like Colorado. I think this team is loaded. I love Troy Tulowitzki, and we'll talk more about him when we do our individual awards in a little bit, but I think he's going to have a monster year. And I also think Ubaldo Jimenez, I think in this offseason, I think he learned how to pitch a full season. He was off to gangbusters to start the year. last year, and then I think he kind of leveled out a little bit. He got bombed against the Red Sox when they went to Coors. What was it, like late July or mid July or whatever, or late June maybe. And but I think he's going to have a full year. I like the rest of that lineup. I think the bullpen's going to be solid. I like the Rockies to win that division. And I actually think the Giants, the defending world champs, are actually going to win the wild card. I still think they're very good. They still got the best pitching top to bottom in the National League. And even better than the Phillies. We'll get to them later. And the lineup, I think, will do just enough to score. And, you never know with Brian Sabian. He may pull off a big bat at the trade deadline. You never know. And I just think that they're going to be hungry enough to win the wild card. I think the rest of the division is going to have some struggles. San Diego, I think, played over their heads last year, and the Dodgers are in the same. They're the Mets West Coast. They're just in such turmoil, and they're a complete mess. And I think Arizona is going to have a rebuilding year. I think they'll be pretty good, but they're in a rebuilding year also.
So is that how you see the division going then? Colorado, San Fran, San Diego, LA, Arizona.
I think I'm going to have the Dodgers third, just because I'm a Donnie guy.
Yeah.
And I like the Dodgers third, the Padres fourth, and the Diamondbacks fifth.
Okay. I'm going to say, I'm going to agree with you. I think Colorado wins the division. I actually thought they were going to win it last year, but injuries really derailed them early on and kind of took the steam out of them. And they made a charge late, but it just kind of fell short a little bit. I do like San Francisco. I have a feeling that they're going to have a little bit of that hangover year. First, big time success in a long time. Those pitchers threw a lot of innings last year, more than they have ever thrown. I still like Kane a lot. I like Lincecum a lot. But I don't even think they're going to finish second. I definitely don't think they're going to win the wild card. We'll get to my wild card situation in a little bit, but I actually like San Diego to finish second in that division. I looked at their pitching. I know they overachieved a little bit last year, but their pitching is really, really good, including their bullpen is nasty. So I think they're going to finish second. Not close enough to make. I think Colorado's going to run away with it a little bit. I don't think San Diego really has a chance for the wild card either. But I just like them to finish second in the division. And then after that, I'd say San Fran third. LA, I think Don Mattingly's going to be a good manager. I think he's going to do a fine job. I just don't think he has the pieces right now. The lineups they've been running out there have been pretty crazy. So, they got off to a good start. They went into San Fran, and I think did they sweep them? Or they won 2 or 3?
I think they won 2 or 3.
And then they also won the parking lot brawl as well. Beating the shit out of the Giants fan that's now may have brain damage, so that wasn't very nice. But
no, not at all.
And then I think Arizona, obviously, still rebuilding, will finish last. So I like Colorado there.
All right, let's move on now to the American League, the National League Central, which is kind of an up and down division. It's pretty wide open, and I think the team, it's a team that you and I have both talked about. We talked about them in our off-season special, and that's the Milwaukee Brewers, and I actually like them to win the Central. I think Zach Greinke, I know he's starting the year on the DL, he's a little banged up, but I think he'll step up and actually end up having a really great year. The lineup, I mean, Prince Fielder. A lot of people think Prince Fielder might be a big disappointment this year, but no, not with his contract coming up. He will not have a bad year. He's going to actually probably I think he's going to hit 50 home runs. Whether he stays in Milwaukee all year, I think depends on how good they are. I think he will, because I think the Brewers are the best team in the division. So I like the Brewers to win the Central. I have a problem. The team that I was going to originally give the wild card to, I think is going to have some major problems this year, and that's the Cardinals. I think the pitching has struggled badly now with injuries. Chris Carpenter's hurt.
Yeah, I think they're in serious trouble.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the bullpen right now, and I don't think they're going to be as good as usually advertised. I like Cincinnati, but I think they're going to finish second. I think the Cardinals are going to slip to third. Cincinnati's got a good team. They're young. They have a lot of live arms. Incidentally, just as a check, the Dodgers are 3-1 and San Francisco 1-4. So I think they must have swept them, I guess, right? Dodgers are 3-1 as we're talking, and the Giants are 1-4.
Yeah, it says the Giants lost 2 in a row. So that would have meant they were 1-2 to start the season. Actually, that might have been a 4-game series. They might have won 3 or 4.
Okay. I like Cincinnati to finish second, even though they're 3-0 to start the year. I think Milwaukee, who's off to a pretty rough start, I think they'll rebound. So I like Milwaukee, Cincinnati. I like the Cubs third. I think they're gonna have a good year actually. Cubs third, Cardinals fourth, Houston fifth, and then the Pirates. Obviously, this 3-1 start is a mirage, and they will finish last again. I don't think they're going to lose 100 games, though. I think the Pirates will be fun to watch this year.
Yeah, they're improving.
They may battle the Astros for 5th. The Astros may bottom out and finish last. That'll be an interesting race in terms of who finishes with 100 losses. I don't think the Pirates will, but I like Milwaukee to win that division.
I did too, definitely coming into the season. I'm a little concerned, with where Greinke's going to be. I haven't really looked into it recently. I know he hurt his knee playing basketball or something, or his leg. So I don't know. That worries me. And Markham was already hurt, and those are the two of the reasons I was picking them originally. The stat we gave, 0-4, never won the World Series. I don't know if they've ever won a division 0-4, but I think I might actually change things a little bit, just to be a little different. And I'm going to say the Cubs win the division.
Okay.
I really think they like Mike Quade. Is that how you say it? Quade? Quade.
Wade.
I think they're really going to respond to him. They responded to him late in the season. They have a good team, solid team. Seems like Carlos Zambrano kind of finally has his shit together a little bit. I think Milwaukee ends up coming in second. I just think they're going to end up being in a hole early that they can't end up digging out of. I think that's going to be their problem. I know they kind of went all in with Greinke, but this injury really kind of messed them up. And then Corey Hart too. They don't really know when he's coming back. He's hurt as well. I'm going to still put them second. Cincinnati, a close third. I know they overachieved by a lot last year, and they look good already. They have a lot of young pieces, a good pitching staff, but I just don't trust Dusty Baker. I just don't trust him. I know he gets teams there, but he's really bad with young pitchers, and that's what they have a lot of. So I just don't. I don't know how those guys are going to respond now in the second season under him. After being kind of a successful team. Mm-hmm. So I like them third, close to second. I'm going to say St. Louis fourth. I don't think they're ever going to really contend this year. Wainwright's out for the year. Carpenter's hurt. Holiday's going to be back, but they might be able to slug their way in, to make a run. I just don't think they'll really have a chance to contend. And then
I think the whole thing with Pujols is going to bother them all year too, because
that's true. And if they're struggling, he might come out and try and push for a trade as well. I don't think it's going to happen, but if they're 10 out come July, who knows?
Right, exactly.
All bets are off. And then I'll go Houston to Pittsburgh. There's no reason not to. Houston's just a debacle. And, their farm system is just barren. And their whole team's just fucked up thanks to the owner. So, it's kind of a sad situation. And then even worse is in Pittsburgh, where they just keep, restarting the franchise over every 3 years. So, less said about them, the better, I guess. So, let's move on to your home division, the NL East.
I feel bad for the Pirates. I mean, they really have a good fan base, and they have a beautiful ballpark. In fact, and I think this is just a national bias against our teams. This is one thing where I think Mets and Yankees fans should band together, because they did a poll of the top 10 stadiums in Major League Baseball, and neither of our ballparks were in the top 10, which is ridiculous. But I think PNC was number 1, which is fine. A lot of people say PNC is a beautiful ballpark. Ballpark you'll be visiting next week, Nationals Park,
yes,
is gorgeous from what I've heard, and it's green. So
is their team.
Yeah, well, that's true too. Hopefully the Mets will make them greener this weekend. But yeah, no Citi Field and no new Yankee Stadium, which I think is ridiculous. But anyway, National League East. Let me go into my team first, and then I'll go through the division. Now we've thrown our Met jabs, and you guys are throwing it at me. Not really as much. You actually, that's the one team I root for that you don't bust my balls about as much. Which
I just feel bad for them.
Yeah, well, thank you. I don't like pity, but
it's funny because growing up in Rhode Island, I never hated it. I think we might have talked about this. I never hated the Mets. I never had a problem with the Mets. When I moved to Connecticut, I realized how much more Yankees and Mets fans hated each other. I always rooted for them because they were from New York. So, until 2000, I had no reason to ever root against them. And something tells me it'll be a while before I have a reason to root against them again. So,
well,
outside of the 6 games they play every year, I really don't care much for them.
Right. Well, no, I concur. But there's 2 schools of thought when you're a Met fan. There's the subjective Met fan, and there's the Met fan like me who understands reality, and then there's the other Met fans that are all idiots. I consider myself a minority when it comes to being a Met fan because I'm a realist. All right, I've never looked to spend a crap load of money. I just want the team to do well. I want the farm system to be built well, and the Mets actually have a pretty good farm system. They've had one for a while.
And I think they're going to turn things around. Sandy Alderson, he's a really, really smart guy, and Terry Collins is a good manager. I think they're finally on the right track now. If they can just get a steady owner with money,
right,
no cash flow problems, I think that's when they'll really be on the right track.
Yeah, and Sandy Alderson, obviously, the whole thing all offseason was, we have to lug this Luis Castillo contract around, and we have to lug this Oliver Perez contract around and over. And Sandy Alderson told the Wilpons, who really should have other priorities right now, he just told them, you know what, I'm getting rid of these guys. I've had it. I don't care. They don't want to play here. They both suck. It's a lot of money. I don't care that you're broke. I'm cutting them loose. And he did. That's the one thing I like about it. If this was Omar be stroking him and,
well, you know what
talking
the
to
good thing,
Oliver Perez's family. It'd be a disaster.
You know what the good thing with Alderson is, too? He knows he'll get a job somewhere. He worked for the MLB office. He knows he's good. So whatever. I don't think he gives a shit. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm doing this. If you don't like it, fire me. I'll go get a job somewhere else.
Yeah, and honestly,
I'm a smart dude. I can do what I want.
Exactly. And I honestly think that, and there's our good friend Dr. G, who will be joining us in the future here on the Place to Be podcast, talking baseball. He tells me that he thinks, I don't want to say it's a mole, but a lot of people think that Sandy Alderson was planted there by Bud Selig to watch his team.
I don't
believe that. I do say, though, that I think Selig recommended
I'm sure he
Sandy
did.
Alderson for the job, because I don't think the Wilpons wanted a guy that's more strong-willed than they are.
Well, he would have been he was his boss anyway, so I'm sure there was a recommendation involved.
Right.
Just on a normal business level. But I will say this, too, for your team. I don't think they're going to really contend this year. I think they'll be better than people think, but the positive thing is the Phillies, they're old, that team. And the thing that made me laugh at Cliff Lee when he friggin', spoke out about why he wanted to go there, saying that they were younger than the Yankees. They're definitely not. The Yankees definitely have a lot more youth and a much stronger farm system. So that was kind of a bullshit reason to me. And I don't think their window is that long, to be honest. And I think Atlanta is. They have a young, strong team. But I think the Mets, maybe 2 years out from, once Philly really starts falling apart, we're kind of seeing it now. Not in their record, but I'm just saying in some of their players. I think the Mets will be in a better spot.
I agree. And the problem is not, and the one thing that the outside world needs to know about the Mets, it's not the team itself that's the problem. It's not the players. It's not Terry Collins. It's not the staff. It's the Wilpons. They're cheap, lying crooks. That's exactly what they are. And they should worry about going to jail before worrying about getting minority owners to bail them out. Who is going to want to put money as a minority owner?
No one.
Donald Trump, Cuban. Who the hell is going to want to put money into this team and not have any say over it? I'm going to, if I was Mark Cuban, I'd be like, and I'm going to listen to you guys?
I think you should let Cuban buy the friggin' team. Him in New York, in a big market team like that, they'd be dominant. Look at what he did in freaking Dallas. That team was a joke for so many years, and he made them a perennial contender every year. Every year they're a top. They rarely miss the playoffs. Now Dirk Nowitzki's a big part of that, but his spending and doesn't care if he's going to eat contracts or whatever. So he wants to win. That's why I think the Cubs kind of missed the boat by not pushing for him.
Exactly. I think the pitching staff will be pretty good. Chris Young actually pitched good tonight against the Phillies. I think he'll have a good year. I like Corasia. I think he's going to have a good year. I like not Corasia. He's not with the Mets. Chris Capuano, former Brewer.
Yes.
I think he's going to be pretty good. Mike Pelfrey, I don't know. I look at him and I always just worry. It's not often that you have an ace on your staff who's not a strikeout pitcher, and he's not a strikeout pitcher. So he's gonna worry me as the year progresses. I think he needs to start to assert himself.
And a lot too on them will depend when Santana comes back. If he, comes back and could be at least 80% of Santana. And if they're in the mix, that could be a big player. It's almost gonna be like making a trade at the deadline for them, getting him
exactly.
back.
Yeah, and if Johan is really starting to learn that he's got to, kind of like Mariano in a certain extent, starting to learn that he's going to have to come up with some different pitches, and he doesn't have the gas anymore. He might actually end up being although apparently his rehab's not going well, or maybe it is going well. It's the same Mets PR bullshit. You don't know who the fuck to believe. It really gets aggravating after a while. I think the Mets will finish below 500, but not a lot. I'm looking maybe 79 and 83. If they finish above 500, I'll be happy. I'll be fine.
And for their future, they need their main goal right now should be outproduce Washington on a growth level. Washington is building and they're kind of coming on a little bit. They need to just stay ahead of them because, like I said, I think Philly's going to fall back, and Florida, you just never know what they're going to do. But they're going to also become a concern once they get their new stadium and start making some money. I think they are also going to become players in that division. So, things could get tough for the Mets, but they just have to keep building and doing things right. Don't keep restarting, and don't bring on stupid contracts.
No, and I blame, and I'm sorry, I'll throw the rest of my Met fan base under the bus because I didn't want Jason Bay. I didn't think Jason Bay totally fit with this team. Jason Bay was and I don't think the Mets wanted to sign Jason Bay.
No, they definitely didn't, and he didn't want to go there.
No,
he just went because they were offering the best money.
Yeah, Jason Bay was a fan's hiring, And I don't hate Jason Bay. I think he's a good player.
He's not made for a big ballpark like that. He put up big numbers in Fenway, but that's because all he did was bang him off that stupid wall all day. So
Yeah.
you put him in Citi Field where it's just a lot deeper, and a lot of those home runs that were going out in Fenway over the wall now are just dead ducks coming down the outfield.
And he's not, and he never has gotten totally accustomed to the angles in left field because Citi Field does have a pretty herky jerky wall when it comes to dimensions. It's very hard to get used to when you had Fenway, which, it's herky-jerky, but the place, it's fucking 150 to center field, you know what I mean? So it's kind of easy. But I think the Mets as a team will play really good this year. I can almost guarantee if they're going to be in the toilet, not in the toilet, I shouldn't say that. They're not going to be in the race in July. I can almost guarantee you. And if the certain pockets of Met fans get pissed off at this, then obviously you don't know anything about baseball. I will tell you right now, you've heard it right here on the Place to Be podcast, and we'll have a podcast in late July to talk about this. Jose Reyes will be traded by the deadline. No doubt about it. It doesn't matter whether the Mets win 100 games this year. They don't have the money to re-sign him. And he doesn't, unless he really, doesn't deserve the money, he's going to get a good offers from teams in the offseason. Mm-hmm. And he's not staying here. There'll be no hometown discount.
Yeah, they're better off trading him. I mean, I don't think he's the cancer that some people make out to be. But
no, he's just going to be too expensive.
Yeah,
this
I
is
agree.
A money thing.
I think now's the time to do it if they're going to do it.
Yeah, he's going to be traded. And I'm not going to talk about demographics or everything because I don't want to get into that pissing match. But the groups of Met fans that love Reyes are going to be upset. But you know what? This is business. And if he's a free agent this year, the Mets can't afford him. So why let him leave and get nothing? When you can trade him and I would like to see him go to the American League because I don't want him going to
I think a team like the Twins maybe could use him. I know they have J.J. Hardy, but he'd be an upgrade there.
Detroit could use a good infielder.
Mm-hmm.
Even a team like Oakland could use a good infielder. Places where there's a big ballpark where he could leg out doubles and triples.
Yeah,
he'd be great at. And the Mets can get some pitching or just some young guys and just that. Sandy Alderson's gonna. That's why I'm very happy. That's a perfect example of why I'm happy he's the GM because he's not going to pull any bullshit. He will get good back when they trade him. Having said that, talk about the division as a whole. I think the Mets will finish fourth. I think they will finish slightly better than the Nationals. Not having Strasburg is going to be a big hurt on them. John Landon's going to have a good year for them. But I think that, and maybe it's just because I don't like the guy, or maybe it's because it's just the stupidest contract ever, but I think Jason Worth is going to absolutely bomb in Washington. I think that was a dumb contract. That's one of the dumbest non-Mets deals I've ever seen in my life. He went there the same reason Jason Bay went to the Mets because they gave him the most money. He could care less about playing for the Nationals.
Yeah, I mean, I think we let our thoughts out on our other show about him.
Yeah, exactly. So, as much as I absolutely hate every guy in that team's guts, the Phillies are the best team in this division. They are getting older though, and tonight they had Jimmy Rollins batting third. That's not going to fly. He's got to bat leadoff. You can't have Vitorino. He's a decent hitter, but he's not a guy that could stay at the top of the order all year long. They got to get Chase Utley back.
Rollins is overrated anyway.
I think his skills have eroded.
Derek Jeter, who hasn't been hitting that well the last couple of years. I read something like his average over the last 3 years is higher than Rollins' OBP over the last 3 years.
Yes, and Jeter has been. Although I was listening to Susan and John tonight, and Jeter hasn't hit the ball hard. He's just not been getting in the right spot.
We'll talk about him. We'll get there.
You know. I know Dr. G's not here to defend himself, but no, I think Jeter will end up having a good year. But anyway, I like the Marlins to finish second. Although they struggle this year, I have a feeling Florida's going to end up having a great year. I think the Braves are going to finish third. I think they're almost too young. And I'm not crazy about their bullpen. I think their lineup is okay. I like Hayward. I always do that. Hayward. And I like Hanson and those guys in the rotation. The bullpen's a little shaky for me. I like Florida to finish second. I don't think they're going to win the wild card, but I think they'll finish second in that division. And then I like the Braves third, the Mets fourth, and the Nationals fifth.
All right, well, I'm going to go complete opposite from you. I'm picking Atlanta to win the division.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're too young. I think last year they were too young, and that showed. Their closer, Craig Kimbrell, is really, really nasty. And their bullpen actually is better than you're giving it credit for. Linebrink's good. Moylan's good. O'Flaherty's good. They got George Sherrill in there, too. And he's like the fifth guy on the depth chart. And he's, decent enough. I worry about Derek Lowe being the number one guy, but whatever. He's fine in the NL. He can get the job done. Is he a guy you can completely rely on? Probably not, but he's fine. I think their lineup is good. Chipper Jones is kind of poised for a big comeback year. So I like them to win the division because I just don't think the Phillies have enough offense. They have great pitching, but I don't see where their runs are going to come from. I know Howard's off to a good start. I don't know how long that'll last. It looks like Utley may be out for the season. No one even knows what's going on with him. And other than that, they kind of have a lot of black holes. They have no right-handed power, after losing Worth. So I do think they're a little bit in trouble. I still think they're going to win the wild card, and they'll, I think once they get in the playoffs, it's a crapshoot. So I think they got a shot. They're going to make the playoffs, but I just think over 162 games, I think the Braves just have a little bit more firepower. So I think they're going to win the division. Philly second, Florida third, your Mets fourth, and then Washington fifth. So do you want to jump to the AL or do you want to do the playoff?
We can do the playoffs. We can set up the play. We can do the playoffs now.
All right. So
I have
Colorado.
I have the Rockies beating the Brewers, and the Phillies beating the Giants, and I have the Rockies beating the Phillies. Okay. So I have the Rockies winning the pennant.
Okay. I have. I had said the Cubs, right? So.
Yes.
Rockies, Cubs. So I got Philly as the wild card. So I'm going to say Atlanta ends up with the best record. So we'll say Philly ends up playing Colorado. I'll say Colorado takes them out. Yeah, I don't know. Because now the way it works out, having the two in the... yeah, what the hell? I'll go for it. I'll say Rockies. Rockies beat Philly, and then the Braves take out the Cubs, and then the Rockies beat the Braves to go to the World Series.
Okay, so we both have the Rockies winning the pennant.
Actually, no. I'll take the opposite, just to mix it up. I'll take the Braves. I'll take the Braves. No, we got to go something different.
All right, that's okay.
I'll take Braves to go to the World Series.
Okay.
And then, who do we like for MVP?
NL MVP, I like Troy Tulowitzki. I think he's going to have a monster year.
All right, I'm going to go with Pujols until proven otherwise.
Okay. National League Cy Young, Cliff Lee.
I'll go with Halladay. I think he's a little bit better.
I think he's the best. I think Cliff Lee's the best pitcher on the staff. Just because I think he's got different stuff, and I've always never been sold on Halladay's second and third pitches, but the guy did throw a perfect game, so who am I to complain?
He's been incredible for a lot of years.
I agree, but Cliff Lee just amazes me. The guy's ice cold, and maybe that assassin look is good for him. But manager of the year, I think I agree. I think you and I picked the same guy. If you're going with your board picks, which is Ron Renicky for the Brewers.
Yeah, that worries me now. I'm wondering if I have to change it. I'll go with Freddie Gonzalez. I'll mix it up.
Yeah, I'm sticking with it. My NL Rookie of the Year, I had put to be determined. We had a funny little battle on the board, but I'm actually going to take Mike Stanton of the Marlins. He's gonna put up. He might hit 35 home runs.
And that's hurt now, but they don't think he's going to go on the DL. They think he's just going to be out for a few games.
Yeah, I think he's going to play a good portion of the year, and I think he's going to hit 30 home runs.
Okay, I'm going to go with Brandon Belt from San Francisco.
Okay, so there's our NL picks, and now we shall move to your beloved league, the American League. We'll start out west, and you and I probably will disagree on a lot of things. Well, this is good because I think you and I might disagree on almost everything in the American League, so that's good. Of course, the American League West houses the current AL champion, Texas Rangers, and that's my pick to win the division. I like Texas again. I think they're going to have a good year again. I think the pitching will be solid. I like Feliz. And I know you don't like Adrian Beltre. I know a lot of people don't like Adrian Beltre, but I have a feeling he's going to end up putting up monster numbers this year. And I think Hamilton is right now in his prime, and I think he's going to put up great numbers again. I don't think he'll win the MVP again, but he's going to put up great numbers, and I just think they're just a more well-rounded team than anybody else in the division. I think Oakland will challenge and finish second, and the Angels just got too many holes. I think Kendry Morales will be back, but Artie Moreno needs to kind of reassess what this team needs to do and kind of maybe play with some pieces here. And the Mariners, as long as that Jack Zaredzik or whatever that asshole's name is, it's the GM is GM. I hope the Mariners never win another game ever again. Mm-hmm. I don't defend the Yankees very much, and I know everybody likes to dick them around. But what that guy did to the Yankees and then send Cliff Lee to Texas was retarded.
I mean, I'm glad it happened. To be honest with you.
I know, but it was bullshit. The way he was, that was Bush League.
No, of course, but in the long run, I think it worked out because knowing that Lee, I don't know if he comes to New York if he stays now. Maybe he goes to Philly anyway, and to lose Montero for a half season of Lee, and I don't know if they even win the World Series with Lee. Texas didn't win it with him, and their bats went cold, so I don't know if they would have won it anyway. To be honest.
Okay, but and I have a feeling. I don't know if they will, but if the Mariners season really, really starts to flop, who knows if they try and send Felix Hernandez out.
I don't think so. I think maybe we're about a year or two away from that.
Yeah, but
he's still got a lot of years left on that deal. I think he's got 4 more, and he's pretty cheap. So
yeah, so but I feel bad for him because he might win 20 games and the team may win 50. So, but I think they'll finish last. So I like Texas to win the division, and I don't think anyone else will win the wild card out of that division. I like Texas.
all right, I like my original picks on our board. I took Oakland. Because I didn't know if I really trusted Texas's staff. After kind of watching them this weekend, I'm trying not to overreact to them starting 4-0, but I think maybe I underrated them a little bit just out of anger, to be honest with you. And I'm actually glad they dumped that loudmouth jackass Greenberg. They kicked him out of off the team as far as ownership goes. So because he was just running his mouth and saying stupid shit. So I'm gonna go ahead and change it. I'm gonna take Texas. I wasn't a big Colby Lewis believer, but I think maybe he's fine. And I think too, they also proved last year they had the balls to make a trade at the deadline, and they also have the money now to absorb that. So I'm going to go ahead and take them. I'm going to take, same as you, Oakland second. LA, I think, has a lot of problems, and they had the chance to fill them this offseason. They didn't do it. So I'm going to take them third and Seattle fourth. Same as you. Nothing much going on there.
Okay. The AL Central, which is a pretty large division with a lot of pretty good teams. I took the Tigers. I think Detroit's going to rebound this year. I like the staff, and I'll tell you why I like the staff when we do our individual awards. I think the lineup will come back, and the Cabrera will end up having a good year again. And I think they're going to mash their way to the division title. One of my disappointment teams, I think the Twins are finally going to hit the wall this year. I think Joe Mauer's going to slump badly, and so far he's off to a pretty bad start already.
No,
I think he's going to
just put the Twins ahead of the Yankees. As you said that, thank you.
Well, it's only one at bat, and it's only April, and you'll be playing in October, and I won't. So I don't think this game should be worrying you very much. I think he's gonna finally have a little bit of a down year. I don't know if Morneau's totally back from the concussion problems. So I think they're going to slump this year and finish third. I like the White Sox to finish second. I love that lineup. They mash like crazy. And, Mark Burley may end up throwing, 5 perfect games in his career and no one will ever notice. So I like the White Sox to finish second. I like Minnesota third. I think Cleveland will bounce up and finish fourth. I think they'll show a lot of youth and a lot of exuberance this year, and I think they'll finish fourth. I think Kansas City, even though they have the best farm system in baseball, I think the Royals will finish last again, even though they are 3-1.
All right, I am going to go a little bit different for you. I'm actually going to go with the White Sox. I think their offense is a little bit better than Detroit. I think their pitching is better than Detroit. And I'm a big Adam Dunn fan. I think he's going to have a monster year in Chicago. So I'm going to take them to win the division. I'm going to take Detroit to finish second. I think they'll be improved. Their lineup is a little... Actually, you know what? No, I'm taking Minnesota to finish second. I like their lineup and overall team better. I'm going to take Detroit third. I just think watching them this last weekend, I don't think they have the pop they're going to need. Outside of Cabrera, and Victor Martinez is streaky after watching him a lot with the Red Sox last year. I just don't know how much faith I put in him to be able to carry that team day in and day out. So outside of Cabrera, I don't know who they have to really protect him. And their pitching, I think, outside of Verlander, is kind of spotty as well. And I don't think the bullpen's very good. And I don't know if you've seen Jose Valverde at all, but from the side, he definitely looks like he's pregnant with triplets at this point. He looks fucking huge. So I'm going to have him third, and I'm going to go Cleveland fourth and KC fifth.
Okay. And now we will finally go to your beloved division, and that is the American League East. You're probably going to hate me, and I don't do this very often between these two teams. I usually pick one over the other consistently, but this year I'm actually going to pick the Red Sox to win the division. I think the bullpen, as much as the bullpen looked awful, I think player for player, I think it's better bullpen than the Yankees, player for player. Both starting rotations are not great. The tops are both fairly decent. The bottoms are both fairly I think the lineups are about even, but I just like the Red Sox bullpen. I like Bard. I like Wheeler. I think they're going to rebound and end up playing. I don't think the Yankee bullpen's terrible. You got Mo. How bad could that be? And I think Soriano will be pretty good this year too. But I think overall the Red Sox bullpen's a little better.
No, I think you're a little off there. But we'll get
I think, well, I knew you were going to say that, but that's fine. You said you want change. And there's our change. And I think Adrian Gonzalez is going to have a monster season. I really do. I think he's going to be like Teixeira was when he came in 2009. I think he's just going to mash like crazy. I think he's going to have 45 doubles off that wall, and I think overall he's going to have a great year. I like the Yankees to win the wild card, obviously, because they're just the second best team. And here's my surprise pick. I like the Orioles to finish third. They're my surprise team in the entire league this year. I like I like Buck. I like that lineup. They're just so much youth. They seem excited now. The franchise just seemed in such a malaise. And Peter Angelos is a dope, another shitty owner. And they finally seem like there's some excitement in Baltimore again. And I think they're going to finish third. I don't like either the Blue Jays or the Rays. I think the Rays just totally let their team go to shit. And I mean, nothing against you. I know you love Johnny Damon and everybody loves Manny, but that team is terrible now. The bullpen, everybody left. They re-signed none of the bullpen guys. And the staff, I mean, after Price, it's kind of in Toronto, I don't know what they did. I mean, yeah, they found some schmuck to take Vernon Wells' contract, but they got rid of everybody else. So
yeah, well, Alex Anthopoulos, I think, is a great GM, and I think he's doing kind of like Sandy Alston is doing, and that's just kind of resetting the franchise, because for a while they were just kind of in this weird holding pattern where they had a bunch of guys that were good, and they had Halladay, and it's like they were too good to break it up, but not good enough to win the division or the wild card, so they were kind of in a weird spot, and the switch to Anthopoulos and Halladay's contract coming up kind of gave them that chance to rebuild finally. And I think they're going to be good in a couple years. I mean, I don't think Batista was a mirage. I know a lot of people were joking about steroids and wondering where he came from, but Keith Law went on a big rant about this, saying how he just changed his stance and the way he's attacking the plate, and he's doing it again this year. And I think until proven guilty, I think he's innocent. So I think he is going to have another good year. And that team does worry me playing them 19 times because they can hit. Do I think they're going to do much in the division? No, I think they might end up finishing last, but I don't think they're. I think they have a plan. I'll put it that way. For the first time in a while, I think they have a set plan.
Okay. Well, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. My point is they're not going to compete anymore, at least not for a while. But I'm more disappointed in Tampa. I mean, they just totally ripped this team to pieces. I don't know why. They said they want to become the '89 Oakland A's. What do you think they're going to outscore teams? 11-8, because that's what it looks like now. I'll say the Blue Jays finish fourth, and I think the Rays are going to bottom out and finish last. But I like the Red Sox to win the division and the Yankees to win the wild card.
All right, obviously I like it the other way. I'll get into my Yankees-Red Sox comparison in a minute. I'll go the rest of the division. I think Tampa did a lot to hurt their team. I know why they had to do it. That franchise just pisses me off. The fans piss me off. The whole thing pisses me off. I'm still going to put them third, though, because I think they have enough talent to get there, and I think Joe Madden has that experience now to get them there. And I like Baltimore. I think they are going to be improved. I like Buck Showalter. I think he's going to do a good job turning that ship around. But I don't think it's enough to get them to third this year. I don't think they have enough pitching to get there. I think they're going to come up a little short. The pitching's very young, and I think those guys are going to tire as the year goes on. So I'm going to have them fourth and Toronto fifth. But all those teams scare me. Like, as a Yankee fan, playing all of them that many times, I think is definitely going to take a toll, especially playing in Baltimore this year. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be tough. As far as the Yankees and Red Sox go, I had a lot of Yankee swagger planned for tonight, but now that they're going to blow this game, hurts me a little bit because I was hoping they'd be 4-1. But I still like them to finish first. I think overall, their team just on paper, I think their lineup is a little bit stronger than the Red Sox. I think a big difference is at catcher, where Russell Martin is showing already that, I know it's early, but I'm going to qualify this. I know it's all early, but this is how we got to decide things. So,
of course, absolutely.
I think Russell Martin is showing that he's healthy. He's showing, what he was a few years ago in LA. He's rejuvenated, wants to prove himself. It's the first time in a long time the Yankees have had a legit defensive catcher back there. Just seeing him frame pitches, block balls in the dirt, throw guys out, and even running the bases has been a revelation for them. And I think Jorge Posada is going to stay healthy this year as a DH, and he's already, has 3 home runs through the first few games. So I think top to bottom, I like their lineup. I think there's really no holes. Once Brett Gardner comes around, the only guy that really worries me is Derek Jeter. All year so far, as I've seen him do, is ground out to second, and it's starting to really grate on me. So I'm hoping he gets that going. And also, I've accepted a long time ago that his fielding is gone downhill, and I don't think it's going to come back. So the people who wanted to give him, 5 years and whatever he wanted, I think they're crazy. I think 4 years was too much. The money to me was never a problem. I would have given him $300 million if I just wanted to give him 2 years. That was my deal. So if he can, give them anything positive, then I feel really good about this team. I think Teixeira, is pissed off about all the shit talking everyone did about him and his slow starts, and everyone saying now Adrian Gonzalez is the best first baseman in the division, and they should trade to Sheriff or Pujols. All those, I think he's out to prove, and I think he's going to have an MVP level season. It's already started. He had another home run tonight.
What kind of drunken buffoon said that that the Sheriff should be traded for Pujols?
There was a lot going on there when they were. They didn't know if St. Louis could re-sign Pujols. A lot of people were saying they should try and trade to Sheriff for him. So
those guys should be stripped of their Yankees.
So,
I think you guys should deflower them.
So, I think he's going to have a big year. I've said it all along. I think A-Rod's going to have a monster year. He dropped 10 to 15 pounds of weight. He looks thin. He looks healthy in the field. Last year he was coming off that hip surgery still, and that played a big role, I think, in his movement. You can see he has a lot of that movement and that bounce back. He was locked in spring training. He was destroying the ball, and he's been hitting everything hard. I haven't seen him made a week out yet, so I think he's going to have a big year. My other big year candidate is Curtis Granderson. He was great since he made those adjustments in August, had a monster postseason, had a great preseason, and he's been good so far as well. He's been playing excellent defense. The pitching as well, it worries me a little bit, obviously. CC, I don't worry about ever. Burnett, I'm actually not as worried as most people are. I know he had a bad year last year, but that's not his career. He's like a career high 3 ERA. I mean, he's not a career 5.28 ERA guy. So I just think that was an abnormal year where he just got really fucked in the head and it messed with him. I think bringing in Larry Rothschild and a new voice is going to help him, and he had a strong first start. Hughes worries me more than Burnett, honestly, because just that second year sophomore slump coming off your first full season seems to plague a lot of guys. We saw it with Justin Verlander, and I think we're going to see it a little bit with Hughes. Ivan Nova, I think will be fine for the 4th spot. Doesn't worry me too much. Garcia, I think he'll be all right. I think he's just fodder at this point. He's just filling a spot until they make a trade or bring someone up from the minors. So I think he'll do fine. He'll pitch to his 4 ERA or hopefully 4.5 ERA, whatever he does, and he'll keep them in the game. He'll fight. So that. So pitching can use an upgrade, but here's the difference between them and the Red Sox at this point. The Red Sox have no depth in their minor league system behind the 5 guys they have now. They have an injury-prone Josh Beckett, a guy in Clay Buchholz who is the same track as Hughes, where you don't know how he's going to respond after his first full season. Lester is a horse. I equate him and CC as the same. Lester, I'd love to have him on the Yankees. He's amazing. Dice K, you never know what you're going to get from him. And Lackey, I think, is the most overrated freaking pitcher in the American League. I cannot stand him. And I think a lot of Red Sox fans that I know feel the same way. So, I just don't see where the depth's coming from. Say Beckett goes on the DL like he does every year. Who are they going to? Wakefield? I mean, I'd be thrilled if they brought Wakefield to fill spots. And behind him, they have like Felix Dubront. And other than him, they really have a kind of a barren system because they did have to, they were a couple years ahead of the Yankees. So they've graduated a lot of their players already, and the other ones have been traded. So right now, I think Baseball America has them 18th farm system. So I don't see where they have the chips to make a major trade for a pitcher, and I don't see where they have a guy that they can bring up to be a pitcher as well. Now, we also know they have their cronies out there on other teams helping them, shoehorn bullshit trades like Adrian Gonzalez and the Victor Martinez one and those other crap. So there may be somebody they can find, but I think the Yankees just have more resources to go get a major pitcher at the deadline or to bring someone up. We saw Manny Buñuelos and Betances and Andrew Brackman all, pitch pretty well in the spring. And those are guys they can bring up. They have a lot of high level, upper level pitching talent that is close to being major league ready. So those are guys that they can bring up if needed. I just think they have more resources to go make a move at the deadline than the Red Sox do at this point. Bullpens, I know you said you think the Red Sox are better. I don't know. I don't trust Papelbon. I mean, even the other night, he just always, if it comes down to a game, you're going to take Mariano or Papelbon. I think even Red Sox fans are going with Mariano at this point. Soriano and Bard to me.
It's getting to them. Getting to them is getting to those guys is the key. I like Wheeler. I like Bard.
To me, Soriano and Bard are a wash. I mean, I don't see where you're thinking. What's Bard really proven? He pitched okay last year, but he didn't, in the few big spots they had, I don't think he was ever really lights out in those spots. And Wheeler, he's fine. I mean, you think he's better than Jabba Chamberlain? Jabba Chamberlain's peripheral numbers last year were terrific. He had bad luck on balls in, BABIP, whatever that friggin' thing is. Batting average on balls in play. That's what I'm trying to think of. His peripheral numbers were excellent. They didn't really prove in his ERA because he had like 3 or 4 bad games that really blew his ERA up. But I don't know if Wheeler's that much, better than him. And Bobby Jenks, all right, whatever. You want to take the 4th guy to your bullpen saying is better, then I'll give you David Robertson who can come in and strike guys out. I'm not a big Boone Logan fan as far as lefty out of the bullpen goes. So I'm hoping they get Feliciano back soon because I just don't trust Logan in big spots. So I mean, I think top to bottom they're comparable, and Yankee teams also, this team has been together a little bit longer than the Red Sox team constituted, so maybe they have a little bit more chemistry. And catching is a big spot, as I mentioned. I like Russell Martin. I don't like Jared Saltalamacchia. I don't know what he's ever proven to be handed the starting job on that team. He's a 237, I think, career hitter. Can't even throw the ball back to the pitcher half the time. So, I mean, I don't know what they're expecting from him.
And Red Sox fans are too cheap to pay per letter for their authentic jerseys. So I don't think anybody's going to buy his jersey up there anyway.
And then, same thing. You got Veritek as his only backup. So, Adrian Gonzalez is going to have a monster year. I think Crawford will be fine. Maybe not this year, though. I think he's going to press a lot this year. And Francona's already switching the lineup up 100 times over the last few days. So I don't know. I think it's a crapshoot. I don't think the Red Sox are this 100-win juggernaut that everyone had them penciled in for before the season. I don't
think the Red Sox are going to win 100 games. I think they'll win the division by like 2 or 3 games. I pick the Red Sox like once every 10 years, and this is the one year I think they might be a little better than the Yankees. But your argument's very valid. But Jabba might go through a month slump.
Well, so might Wheeler. I mean, what the hell's Wheeler ever done? I mean, honestly.
Well, he had decent numbers in Tampa.
All right. Well, Jabba's had decent numbers in New York. I mean, I'm just saying. Like, to me, I just don't see the edge Wheeler when you compare like those next tier guys down.
Well, if you had your say, he wouldn't even be in the bullpen. He'd be pitching behind Hughes. So it wouldn't even matter.
He definitely should. Anyway. I think he does. I think he should be a starter. I think that's without question. He's definitely better than Freddie Garcia. I know that.
Well, he needs to get a haircut because if everyone says he looks jacked to me, he looks like El Guapo. So I think it's just the hair. But.
Go take a look at Valverde and who's the other dude on the Red Sox? Dennis Reyes. Looks like he ate Jabba Chamberlain. I thought he was going to fall over when he was walking out from the bullpen the other day.
Oh, God. Just want to, for those listening, again, thank you for picking it up this week. I apologize for the coughing and the fits. I'm trying to battle a cold, so I'm trying to push the mic away as best I can. So I apologize if you keep hearing me cough.
That's okay.
I'm not, what's his name on the fan with who has the, or what's her name, Doris. There was this woman they used to call the WFAN all the time, Doris from Rego Park. And she's passed away, but she's a diehard Met fan. You could hear her like hacking up her Pall Malls like every third word, but I'm not like that. So, all right, well, fair enough. Hey, again, I never pick the Red Sox because I have no faith in them either, to be honest with you.
Look, I'm not trying to shit on them. I think they're going to have a good year. I'm picking them to be the wild card because I'm obviously not going to pick against the Yankees unless it's a glaring difference.
Right, I agree. I think they're both going to make the playoffs. I just think the Red Sox may win like 97 games and the Yankees will win like 95 games. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to win by 10 or something. I just think they'll get the edge in the end. And I just don't know. I just think the pitching is going to be more of a problem than people realize. Last year, we went over this in the offseason podcast. Last year, their offense was not the problem, and that's what they ended up upgrading this year. They still scored a ton of runs last year. I think they're set up better for the long term, obviously. Getting Gonzalez and Crawford. But for this year, their offense is not a huge upgrade numbers-wise. The pitching was the problem last year. And I just don't see Beckett coming back to what he was. And like I said, he's never been a great in-season pitcher. He's had like 2 great seasons, and the rest have been mediocre. And he's had those 2 great playoff runs that everyone remembers him from. So I just don't see the 5 aces thing that everyone was talking about. And I don't see who's behind them. I don't see if there's a problem. And the guys are going to miss starts. I mean, there's no team has 5 starters that make 33 starts. So exactly. No, I agree with that too. I think both teams are going to have their issues in terms of the starting rotation. I think CC's a monster. I mean, he lost weight in this offseason because he's going to have to start losing weight slowly as he gets older. Because you can't carry that big gut, when you're 39 years old. So he definitely, I hope he's going to do a better job, continue to drop some of the pounds. I think Phil Hughes will rebound. I know he pitched pretty lousy on Sunday, but I think he'll rebound.
He worries me a little bit just because of that second year thing. I mean, I think long term he's going to be a very good pitcher. This year right now he worries me a little bit. Like I said, I mean, I think both teams, have issues in the rotation. I just think the Yankees are in a better position to address it when needed.
Okay.
So, but that's it. Let's move on. Let's do all right. So in the playoffs, then you have Red Sox, Yankees, Tigers, Rangers. So you have obviously Red Sox having Red Sox, Yankees can't play. So who do you think has the best record then?
I think actually Texas is going to end up having the best record.
Okay, so you have them and the Yankees in round 1 then.
I have the. Oh, you know what? No, I did that wrong. I actually have the Red Sox with the most wins, and the Yankees with the second most wins, and then Detroit and Texas and Detroit into that. So I have the Yankees playing the Tigers.
Well, no, that wouldn't be. You'd have to have Detroit would have to have the second most wins to play the Yankees.
You know what? I didn't even think about that when I wrote that down. Let me do my little in my head. All right. Well, I have the Yankees facing Detroit, and I have Texas playing Boston. So I don't know how the wins part is doesn't matter for me. So I think Texas.
Yeah, it does matter though to determine the matchup.
All right, well, let's see. All right,
So
the Red Sox.
If the Red Sox can have the best record, they would normally play the wild card. They can't, so they'd play the next worst record. So you're saying Texas has the next worst.
So it'll be
record.
Texas, yeah.
So you're saying Detroit's going to have more wins than Texas?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. So I think the Red Sox will beat Texas, and the Yankees will beat Detroit. And I know you're going to hate me, but what the fuck, whatever. My guy lost at WrestleMania, but I like the Red Sox to beat the Yankees in 7 games.
Okay.
To win the pennant.
And
Game
who
7
do you
will
like
be
in the World
after that
Series then? Red Sox or
Red Sox? What?
Or Rockies to win the World Series?
Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're going to celebrate Coors Field. I think Tulowitzki's going to have a real coming out party as a dominant infielder in Major League Baseball this year.
All right, I'm going to agree. I'm going to say Texas has the best record, only because they have a weaker division to beat up on. I think the Yankees and Red Sox are going to maybe finish up around like 95 and 93 wins or something like that. Texas will get up to like 97, 98.
Okay.
I'm going to say Texas beats the Red Sox in round 1. I'm going to say that their bats, as they proved this past weekend, just end up beating the Red Sox pitching. It'll be slugfests, though. And then I think the Yankees beat the White Sox. I'm going to say Yankees get revenge over Texas and then move on to beat the Braves to win the World Series. See, this is the thing about having a good team, Scott. You can always pick them and not really ever be considered a homer because they have a legit chance to win.
Yes, but then it's easy for me because then I can pick whoever I want and no one can call me a front runner because I can pick the other 29 teams because my team never makes it. So it works out either way. I don't have the pressure.
And who do you like to win the MVP?
I like Adrian Gonzalez. I think he's going to have a great year. I think him and Teixeira are going to. I think it's almost I agree with you. It's almost like a vendetta thing. I think the two of them are going to put up ridiculous numbers. I have nothing against A-Rod. I don't the issue Yankee fans have, whatever. I could care less. I think his hip is going to start to bother him as the season progresses. I don't think he's going to tank. I mean, he'll still hit 40 homers and drive in 110 runs, but I don't think he's going to go crazy. I think his hip is going to start to. I think it's going to start to irritate him a little.
All right, I disagree. I think he's going to have a big year. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. A-Rod always does well in the odd number years. 05, 07, 09 were all his big years. Last year was a little bit of his down year for him. So I think I think he's going to have a really big year. I think Adrian Gonzalez will have a very big year as well. That guy you can just hit no matter where he is. So, I like him maybe to probably finish second there. So I do like Lester to win the Cy Young, though. I think he's going to have a huge year. Kid's just a beast. I think him and CC and Felix Hernandez will be the 3 guys kind of battling for that. So, but I like Lester. I think this is his year to finally break out on a national level. I think everyone around here knows how good he is. I don't know if everyone nationally knows how good he is yet.
This is kind of a kooky pick, but this guy was always one of my favorite pitchers. And I finally feel comfortable enough with picking him to win the Cy Young Award, and that's Justin Verlander. I think he's going to carry the Tigers to the division. I think he's going to win 20 games. I know he pitched okay. Actually, he pitched pretty good against the Yankees. He only gave up 3 hits in 6 innings.
He did do well. Yeah.
It was a bullpen that threw it in the toilet. I think he's going to win 20, 21 games. I think he's going to have a monster year, and I think he'll carry the Tigers to winning the division.
All right. I can feel you there.
And manager of the year, I like Buck. I mean, I really have like the Orioles as a team up and down. I might be hedging my bet, picking them third. I'll be honest. I probably am, but I don't know. I just like the way that feels going to be. I agree with you. I think Camden Yards is going to be a nightmare to play in this year, and I think fans are going to start to enjoy them again, kind of like those late '90s teams. And I think he'll. And then of course they'll be really, really good, and then they'll get rid of him, and then somebody else will come in and win a world championship. But I think he's gonna. I think they'll win like 86 games. I think they'll win the division. Finish third. I think he'll win manager of the year.
I want to pick them. I just can't see them. Yeah, I haven't finished a 4th, so I just don't see them giving a manager of the year to a guy finish 4th, even though I think they are going to be a better team. I don't think Ron Washington wins it again. Did he win it?
I don't think so either.
Did he win it last year? He won it, right?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, and I don't think Girardi gets it because I don't think Yankees or Red Sox managers get the respect they deserve because of the teams that they have. So I don't think either of them will get it. That leaves me with Ozzie Guillen. So I'm going to go with him. Why not?
Oh.
I think that crazy bastard gets it for having that team win that division. You know what? I like him, though. He's an idiot and an asshole, but whatever. You know what? That's good. The league needs a guy like him. Let him run his mouth. He's entertaining. Gives you something to talk about. I don't know. I don't ever want him to go away.
Well, what I find funny is if Omar was still the GM of the Mets, I think he'd be the Mets manager this year instead of Terry Collins. To be honest,
he's not a bad manager. I don't think he'd been a good fit for a rebuilding team. I think he's better where he is on a team that thinks they can contend every year.
Right.
And then for rookie of the year, I like Hellboy down at Tampa, Jeremy Hellickson. I think
I do too.
We'll have a good year. So
Yeah,
I thought you liked TBD. No.
Well, TBD. You know what? He may go on the DL with a fractured ego.
I think you went in with a fractured skull. So
yeah, I did. I honestly threw it in the tank. I don't know a lot of the American League rookies this year. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
So I'll just jump on your bandwagon and take Hellickson.
All right. So that wraps up our 2011 baseball predictions. We will check back in periodically and do a pod.
You know what? We can say this on air. We could say this on air because we like to let the place to be nation in on it. You said you wanted to get the Major League preview done in an hour.
We do it?
We got it done in 54 minutes and 50 seconds.
Nice. We did a good job, I thought. We were quick and to the point. Well, I think doing our 17-hour marathon off-season podcast.
We literally did that till like 10 of 2 in the morning that night, I remember.
Well, that was our second one, so we were a little rusty. But that does leave us time now to transition. For those non-wrestling fans, we bid you adieu. Does that mean farewell? No, what's adieu mean? Okay, good.
Adieu is farewell.
All right, I got that right. That's good.
Okay.
So let's move on then to...
Ask Rene Dupree. Maybe he'll help you.
We're going to move on to recapping this past Sunday's WrestleMania 27.
Awesome! I came to play. There's a price to pay. Tough for you to get down.
And of course, that is the music of the WWE champion who was successful in retaining his title this past Sunday, and that's The Miz. So let's do this. Start at the top of WrestleMania. Let's run down that, and then I know we both have some thoughts on what was a very interesting Raw episode last night.
You know what? I hate to say this. Can't believe Derek was actually right. Oh, God.
He's rarely right. Let him have it. I can't believe you were right about the opener, and that's Edge. But let's...
I know.
It's funny, because I was listening to the Law recap this morning, and they're like, talking to Dave Meltzer, and they're like, I don't know any fans or any, writers that picked Edge that thought Edge was going to win. And I'm thinking, that son of a bitch that picked him. He's the only one in the world that picked him.
First of all, let's talk about the set. I thought the set was awesome. I love the way the Georgia Dome was laid out. I love the big WrestleMania, the big sign above the entrance. I loved, and I hope they do this one more often. I love that sheen ramp. It was nice and shiny with the word, with the big WrestleMania word on it. It just made that set screamed big event.
Yep.
So I hope they kind of mimic that one throughout the rest of, for the future. I love
the video screen in the back was tremendous as well.
Yeah.
I loved when Alberto Del Rio came out. They had the picture of his mansion in the back, and then he drove out from under it. And then for Cody Rhodes, I thought was the best. They had those headlines, like the fake newspaper headlines, like whatever, Cody disfigured and all this stuff about his. He is just really locked in on. It's funny because it's rare when you see a guy go from one great gimmick to another, and he was killing that dashing gimmick, and then he's bringing it to a whole new level with this whole like disfigured beast gimmick that he has going on.
I know,
and this dark look he has. So
yeah. But I love the set. I thought it was nice. I love the cube that was coming down from the ramp from the ceiling.
Yes.
Above the ring. So in terms of layout, A+. Tremendous job setting up the Georgia Dome.
Yep. And now before we get to the card, let's just talk about our thoughts on Sheamus and Daniel Bryan. Of course, were advertised for the U.S. title. There were rumors all weekend that a match was going to get bumped probably to the pre-show, and there were rumors that was going to be the one. I look at it two ways. I think the show would have been better with them. But, people are complaining that, you had the Rock promo and you had the skits. You get that shit anyway, and people were bitching that Snooki's match made the card and that one didn't. But you know what? Snooki probably brought in more viewers than Sheamus and Daniel Bryan did, unfortunately. That's how it works now. I think Sheamus and Bryan could have really helped add another memorable match to the card. I wish it was on it. But, all these people bitching about the stupid Rock opening where he talked for 20 minutes, they would have seen people complaining that, saying they were paying to see the Rock be on. And if he didn't do that and he was barely on, they'd be bitching that, hey, we paid to see the Rock and they didn't use him. So, my problem is that the Rock's opening promo sucked.
It was pretty hideous. I hated it.
I'll give him that. It was awful. But I don't think the problem is that they had that instead of the Sheamus match. Now, I think, maybe you could have the Sheamus match instead of the core match. I don't know. But... I think Sheamus and both guys have worked really hard all year. I think Sheamus is really one of those guys that's going to prove to everyone that he can be a legit player. He got a lot of crap during his title run, but I think he's coming on strong now.
I agree. Of course you're watching it and you're like, oh my God, two of the best workers on the company get benched so we can watch awful rhymes, and I don't know what the hell he was doing. He spent most of the time walking around in a big circle staring. I mean,
I think he was feeling a lot. A lot of people blame I've seen people blame the writers for like assuming that Rock didn't do that, but I think he was actually just feeling a lot of pressure to deliver in that moment. And I think he kind of choked a little bit.
I think he did too. I think it doesn't hurt to be a little rusty. I understand. That's a big moment,
Yeah.
You're opening the show, and I'm sure everyone knows.
And he knows a lot of people tuning in for him.
Yeah, exactly. So, and two good work rate guys were taken off the show for him. So I definitely think, I don't want to say he choked. I think maybe for once, I think the moment overwhelmed him. Because you got to remember, when he was in his prime, other than really, he wasn't used to big, except for those last two. Well, I guess the last three. But by 19, he was kind of coasting. This is a big moment, big arena. And unlike in the past where being in the show was different because you had the stacked card of all these guys, here you are dealing with a big card with a lot of young talent, new matches, and not used to this kind of setup for them. He probably felt he needed to kind of deliver to help him out, and I think he gagged. But at the same time, this is a new era of writing now. This isn't like the Attitude Era where he gets 2 bullet points and roll with it. I'm sure he was told to do something because what he did was crap, and I just can't see The Rock coming up with something so lame. So I have a feeling he was actually told to
I'm sure
to
it was
do
a
something.
combination. I think it was a little bit of both. I think it was nerves and probably poor preparation.
Yeah, but
and that kind of goes with this whole card because I've seen everything ranging from people loving the show to people saying it was the worst Mania ever, and I think it's a little hyperbole, but
yeah, it's not the worst Mania ever.
My issues with this card fall more with the booking and the pacing of it, and I think the matches were all actually pretty solid.
I think they were too.
I thought the wrestlers themselves delivered what they had to deliver. I think it was the booking that kind of effed this whole show up.
Yeah, I agree.
And also, before we get to the opener, I just want to say, my other point, for the people saying this is the worst Mania ever, I have a hard time in believing that any current Mania can really be the worst Mania ever. Our buddy Jordan Duncan made a pretty good point in the blog earlier. He said with everyone, the only positive of everyone working essentially the same style is you're going to get solid matches at least.
Right.
And the modern Manias are such a spectacle with the arena, the look, the atmosphere, the pre-production, the post-production, and the current ability of the wrestlers. You're going to get solid wrestling, even if the booking sucks. So to me, no Mania will ever be worse than probably 2, 9, 15, 30, until the product radically changes. I just don't see these Manias dipping below those. To me, and I think I bore that out when we did our rankings. I had 25, 20. I had those shows kind of in the middle. So to me, unless it's a great show, these shows will just kind of always fall towards the middle more than towards the bottom.
Yeah, I think a lot of people going into this card were a little skittish because you didn't have Shawn, and Shawn's a guarantee at least 4-star match. So not having the guarantee, I think, kind of made people a little skittish. I don't think they were. They knew that you weren't going to get unless they went worldly. I knew you knew you weren't going to get 5 stars out of Triple H and Taker. So I think people were like, "Oh, the show's going to be a bit of a knockdown." You got all these guys like Del Rio and all these newbies that are they going to be comfortable? I mean, the show, the matches be a little herky jerky. So I think people went into the show optimistic because you go into it's just human nature as a wrestling fan. You always go into a WrestleMania optimistic. You don't go in like, oh God, this card's going to suck. No one ever says that when a WrestleMania starts. Never. And if anybody says that, they're lying. They're lying to themselves. You always go to watching a WrestleMania feeling good about it because it's just that's the way it is when you're a wrestling fan. And I think that, although I will say that again, not having Shawn, because Shawn makes that big a difference. I'm sorry. I mean, look at the cards. We were talking about it on our megacast. I mean, think about it. Think about his matches from 19 to 26. Okay, he got 3.5 stars out of Vince for Christ's sakes. I mean, the guy didn't have one crap match. When was his last crappy WrestleMania match? If you think about it, you have to go all the way back to I don't know, Tatanka. I mean, really, think about it.
That wasn't even crappy though. That was still pretty good.
That was good.
I think the Orient Express at 6, honestly.
Really, I mean, he never has. He definitely deserves the title, Mr. WrestleMania. Never has the guy had a crappy WrestleMania match, and not having him there this year, I will admit, I think people got a little skittish, but I think they still felt optimistic about the card as a whole. So,
all right. So let's go ahead. Where you were going to pick up?
Well, I was going to say let's talk about the opener, and I was kind of shocked that they made this the opener. The World Heavyweight Championship, Edge and Alberto Del Rio. And I will toot my own horn. I'm very happy. I was one of the few people on the planet that thought Edge was going to retain. I actually love the match. I thought it was great. And you know what? Alberto Del Rio is no rookie. There's no doubt about that. He really laid out on the line and put on a great match. And even kudos to Brodus Clay. He knew what was going on around the ring. I think he knew it's a big moment for a guy, even though you're not in the match. It's a big moment to be part of even the opener. I mean, you got 71,000 people staring at you. You may not be in the match, but you better know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Christian was a good guy. He's no rookie. And so I think overall that whole match, top to bottom, was very, very good. I think Edge kind of shook off his rust in that match, and Del Rio definitely is a guy to be reckoned with. I think he's a guy that'll be here for a long time. So I'm very happy with the way that match laid out. I was surprised. The wrecking of the car was funny, but that's just kind of
actually we thought Christian was pulling a gun when he reached in his pocket and pulled out the crowbar. Look, he was going to shoot Del Rio. Yeah, it was weird.
I like the match.
It was weird that was the opener. I don't have as much of a problem. I've seen various people complain that you're making SmackDown look inferior. They've been doing that for the last 6 years. So really, I don't know. And other people said I saw a few people say they thought Edge and Del Rio looked pissed coming to the ring, and I didn't see that at all either. So. Yeah, I thought it was a really good match. Edge usually does deliver at WrestleMania. That's why I had him on my top 10 list. I think he's still solidified there. Mm-hmm. And Del Rio, as you said, is definitely not a rookie. He definitely knows what he's doing. I was a little surprised he didn't have more to do with Christian. I thought he was either going to cost Edge or cost Del Rio the match. He really, just kind of, beat on Brodus Clay on the outside, and that was it. So, yeah, a good opener. I really enjoyed it. I was surprised at the ending. They definitely swerved me. I didn't see it coming. The car stuff took a little bit long. That was the first thing that was kind of a time waster that probably could have been done this week on SmackDown instead.
Yeah, I agree.
Instead of on the show itself. So, but the entrance of Del Rio was tremendous. And he put on a good match. They definitely got the show off on a good start.
I agree. And Edge retains his World Heavyweight Championship. And as we know, I guess the early rumors are that they will rematch at Extreme Rules, and it will be a ladder match. Mm-hmm. So, second match was I'm trying to find a list. I'm a little the second match was Rey Mysterio. Was there anything in the middle there? Did they do a skit? I don't remember. Was there a skit in the middle?
No, I think the Snoop thing was after this match.
Oh God. Oh God, I loved your quote you texted me about. We won't say it on the podcast because no one will understand it. But the quote the thing you sent me on that you texted me going into that skit was priceless, and you were exactly right. But anyway, the second match was another surprisingly good match, and that was Rey Mysterio against Cody Rhodes. And as you said, again, Cody's got the bloodline of knowing good character development and good charisma. His dad is Uncle Fred, and Goldust is his brother. So, excuse me. They went in and put on an awesome match. I enjoyed it a lot. A good storytelling. I mean, it wasn't the one thing I liked about most of the matches Sunday night. Storytelling. Work rate was good, not great, but this was a match that was all about storytelling. From the mask to the knee brace to the pacing of just Cody protecting his face. Good storytelling in all these matches. Mm-hmm. And this one definitely was one of them.
Yes.
Just great pacing and just telling a good story. Didn't have to go bonkers with 5-star craziness and really put on a great match just from the storytelling. And I think it enhanced the fact that the work rate was good, not spectacular, but not terrible. But the storytelling of the knee brace and the mask and all that stuff really made the match better than a lot of people thought it was. I loved it. I thought it was great.
That was the feud I was really pumping up on our pre-show podcast.
Yep.
I like that whole feud. I love what Cody's doing with the whole dark character, and I like the way they incorporated it. It was almost kind of a flip though, because Ray, when he put the mask on and started headbutting Cody, was kind of acting like a little heelish, and the crowd actually kind of turned on him, and we're cheering Cody when he won. So
yes,
just look at how far Cody's come in a year. A lot of people thought DiBiase would be the breakout guy in that feud. With him and the two of them and Orton, but Cody's really sometimes it shows the best thing you can happen is getting sent over to SmackDown where you have time to build your character and build a gimmick, and that's what he did throughout the year. He built this whole not flawless, that's really cool. Dash and Cody Rhodes. He took his time, built his way up the card, and got into a hot feud with a guy that wanted to put him over. That was Ray. We saw those rumors out there that he wanted to make Cody Rhodes before he retired, which seems to be coming soon. And I love that Cody used the knee brace. That's been a big part of this whole feud. So I thought the delayed superplex was an awesome spot.
Yeah, it felt like 5 minutes.
Yeah, he held him up there for so long, and I don't care how small Ray is. To hold a guy like that up there for that long on the second rope, you're balancing on those ropes was just amazing. So that was a great spot. Great match. I really like that match. To me, Taker Triple H was an epic, and I'll kind of do my analogy we talked about earlier when we get there. But to me, this is one of the two best work rate matches of the night. So
I agree.
Coming off of that, we had the Snoop Dogg thing. That's another thing a lot of fans are up in arms about, taking time.
Oh, get a life.
It was harmless.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, after Regal, I thought it went down a little bit. I thought it was going to be funnier. Chris Masters' titty dance was funny.
He's starting to look really imbalanced, though.
Yeah,
they actually look like boobs now.
Yeah, he's definitely looking a little thin, but it works. It's funny. Regal was awesome rapping. That was fantastic. Zack Ryder and Piper was funny enough. Hornswoggle, I didn't really care for that. That's
You know who would have been great, and tell me if I'm wrong. I know you'll agree with me. You know who would have been perfect in terms of having a guy totally opposite of what the rap would have been? Backlund.
Yes, I don't know if they could have dug him out, but he would have been great.
They should have had you and I and our pal Jim book that skit. It would have been the best thing of the whole night.
I think we did rebook it throughout the whole night because I was with him. So.
By the way, love the picture of the spread. Not a lot of salty meats.
Yeah, he did a good job. He delivered. It was a fun little party we had. So
good, excellent. I had a problem with that skit. I thought you always, what cracks me up about a lot of wrestling fans? Everybody goes into these WrestleManias not expecting things that are going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Every year,
that is exactly right.
Every year, you're going to get at least one extended skit with cool out of nowhere guys. It happens every year.
And whether it's good or bad is a whole nother debate. We're just saying expect it.
But you're going to get at least a 7 or 8 minute. And Snoop was actually pretty funny. I think him and Teddy were actually very funny.
I mean, every other pay-per-view has the matches and everything else. This is the one time a year you're going to get this stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe SummerSlam because they're
exactly.
in LA.
This isn't like the Attitude Era where Raws and SmackDowns are loaded with this. It's not like that anymore. But because we don't have the personalities to carry it. But WrestleMania is the one time of the year where you can bring outsiders in and carry funny skits. I was looking forward to seeing Bobby. I wish we could see Bobby, but apparently Bobby, according to websites, dies every 3 weeks. So we don't know what's wrong with him.
I don't think he's going to be on anytime soon. Unfortunately,
it's unfortunate, and we all wish the brain the best. And I haven't gotten the DVD yet.
I watched it on. Yes, it's on Netflix. I watched it.
It's on Instant. Okay, good.
It got panned, but I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, I don't know what more people expected. I think people were upset he wasn't on it, but I don't think they wanted him to be on it. So.
No, it's supposed to be like a roast. But I thought the skit was funny. I mean, they put on people that aren't overly funny. I think it was more because they wanted him to make him look dumb, like Yoshitatsu. But I think we were expecting either would have been great to see Dusty and can't do Bastion Booger because he's dead. But I don't know, funny guys like the skit with Dusty dancing. Man, some weird kids, and you have Dusty in anything and it's funny. It's just Dusty. So I think they could have maybe put some better guys on there. But it was harmless enough. It
wasn't that long.
You gotta get used. They do it to fill 4 hours. I mean, 10 matches in a row. Probably
but I don't think that's a valid argument this time because they seem to be short on time, and a lot of stuff did seem rushed later.
I think in the back end, it looked like they were rushing.
Yeah.
But at this point in the show, it was fine. The skit was fine. I had no problem with it.
So actually, that skit was longer than this next match, which is the Core taking on Kane, Big Show, Santino, and Kofi Kingston, who replaced Vladimir Kozlov. I think a lot of people expected that to happen. Kozlov got beat up by the Core at Access, and they stuck Kofi in his place to get him on the show.
They're using Access as a plot point.
I know, crazy.
Who the fuck that, huh?
But, quick match. It got the point across. I knew the Core would just, take the quick pin, and I have no problem with Slater jobbing, whatever. It's Mania. The faces go over. And actually, that punch that Show hit him with and that awesome freeze frame they did after was freaking fantastic.
Yeah, he looked like he knocked his jaw out of his head.
Yeah, that was a great shot. And, I have no problem. I don't think Barrett looks weak. He didn't take the pin, whatever. I don't know. It's fine. This is a harmless match.
No, I had no problem with it. It probably could have been a little longer. I mean, considering the build, maybe this is the start of these factions just vanishing and we're back to singles guys now.
I think Core's staying around. Nexus, I think, is done, but I think Core's staying around.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I mean, it's harmless on SmackDown. You might as well have a bunch of bullies. I mean, Barrett. I think Barrett, you'll see start to show his character individually as the year progresses. But and no, the match was no problem for me. It could have been a couple minutes longer, but whatever. I'm not mad about it. I mean,
No,
I'm glad the good guys won. So.
And so from there, they went to the backstage segment where Rock was talking to Eve. I thought this was actually funnier than the Snoop segment. The Rock and Eve part was a little awkward, but once Mae Young came in, I thought Rock was pretty funny. And then I thought the Austin stare down and handshake was awesome. I wish they did more with them.
It sounded like that Mae Young told Rock she wanted his scroodle.
Yeah,
it's like she said strudel. It's like she said scroodle.
Yeah,
but I like when he was doing the jokes at Moses and all that. That was pretty funny.
Yes.
But yeah, and it's Steven Rock. I mean, it doesn't matter. It could be any era. It doesn't matter. They could be playing checkers. It's Steven Rock.
Yeah, I was hoping they were going to sing, to be honest.
It would have been great, but yes, I agree. If you're gonna try and create more time, at least do something creative. But seeing them on the screen at the same time, it's always magic. It's because it's them. So seeing them together was pretty cool. You knew they were gonna do it. It was just a question of how they could pull it off, and I thought it was fine. It was great because it's just good to see the two back on TV again because they fit like a glove, and I was hoping they would do a little more, but just seeing them together was good enough for me.
Yes. So coming out of that, we had a match that had a lot of build going into it, and that is Randy Orton and CM Punk. Now I think this kind of is up there with Cody and Ray as the best in-ring match. I think Punk proved my theory correct that he is pretty much a modern day Bret Hart. Works a great technical style, gets all the little things, the facials, the moves, just little strikes. I like that he broke out the Anaconda Vice again. That was pretty cool. And this match played into their strengths. Punk has a very innovative offense, good precision offense, and Orton is great at selling. So, the whole story is based around Punk beating the shit out of Orton's leg. Orton tried to pun him, but his leg collapsed from under him. But then he was able to hit one quick strike with the RKO to get the win. I think this feud obviously is going to continue. I think maybe Skip Sheffield may come back finally and get involved and be Punk's backup. We'll see. But fun match. Orton finally gets a good Mania match here after the last few years.
I have to watch this match again. Our friends that I was with at the time, we kind of wanted to kind of speed up along. So at this match, we kind of fast forwarded. Not we didn't like it, but we just kind of wanted to pick the pace, and we knew this match was going to be kind of long. So I need to watch this match again. Our friend DVR'd it, so he has it saved. So next time I get over there, I'm going to watch the match again. But from what we were going back and forth a little bit, it did look like it was a very good match. And it definitely had great pacing, and the feud was great. We talked about the build was great, and Matt, our man Matt Rotella, hit the nail on the head that they look like they were just having fun building this feud.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have a nasty shitstorm at Extreme Rules in some capacity, probably last man standing or something.
And I think that's where Punk. I picked Orton to win. I figured he'd win, but I think that's where Punk needs to get his win back and in this feud.
Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not going to lie. I need to watch the match again to really understand whether better. We kind of buzzed through it to kind of catch up because we don't want to stay. The match, we were like 40 minutes behind, so we wanted to kind of buzz ahead a little bit. This is a match that I could. That I'll watch again and probably enjoy more than I did the first time. But I trust your judgment that it was a great match. I'm definitely looking forward to watching it when I get a chance.
All right, so after that was another backstage segment. And this is probably the one I could have done without. And that's the one with Pee Wee Herman.
I'm a big Pee Wee fan, so I didn't really care.
Yeah, he was all right, and Rock was funny. The funniest part was when he said the Fruit Loop Troop. That made me laugh.
Yeah, somebody will make a T-shirt for that. I thought that was
you would see bringing you with the Fruit Loop Troop. That was good, and Mean Gene was funny too. He's always funny. But that went on a little bit too long. That could have been shaved. And then from there they went to the Hall of Fame. That seemed a little rushed as well. Actually, I kind of felt bad seeing Abdul the Butcher hobble out there.
I did too. I mean, his body was broken down, but
Sonny, I thought, looked fantastic. She
looked absolutely fucking amazing.
And she said in an interview now that, because she was amazed that she got asked while she was so young still. And I guess Johnny Ace told her they wanted to do it now while she's young in case anything comes of it and they end up wanting to use her. So I don't know if anything's going to happen. She'll be on or anything like that. But of course, Sean got the big entrance there. So.
The big pop. And now what annoys me even more now about the inside story about why Drew Carey was actually inducted. Apparently, there's him and WWE made some deal.
Yeah, the improv thing.
Yeah, which that's just horseshit. I'm sorry. I mean, you wasted. I mean, it was a complete waste. Drew Carey knew it was a waste. It seemed like even the Kevin Dunn or whoever was producing knew it was a waste. And apparently his speech at the hall at the ceremony was crap, and it pisses me off.
From what I read, I haven't watched the special, but they said that he kind of was almost acting like I don't know why I'm here. Do you know who ended up inducting him?
Kane.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, Kane. That part annoyed me, but it was good to see Sean, and Sonny would just look fucking amazing. And all I could think of was I hope Duggan wouldn't spill anything on his rented tuxedo at the catering table. As I put a fucking bow tie in the 2x4 had more personality than he did. But anyway,
I must say anyone who has I liked his little powder blue tux. But anyone who uses Twitter, I highly recommend following Hacksaw J. Duggan. It's a fake Duggan, and he is fucking hilarious. He may be the funniest fake account on Twitter out there. Our loyal listener, Andrew Flanagan, I hooked him on it, and now he hasn't stopped bugging me about him since I told him about it Sunday night. And he is just a funny bastard. He was tweeting the whole time during Mania, just saying all this funny shit, that like making up stuff that was going on backstage, pretending he's Duggan, and it's just really funny. So
he's probably more entertaining than the real Duggan.
I don't know if that's possible.
And and Sean is Sean. He deserved the big pop, and it was a good class. I was good to be able to. I didn't see the 1 hour special Monday night before Raw, but I watched some clips today on YouTube, and as I anticipated, the speech with Animal and Paul Ellering was very emotional, and actually they took you of all people, Mr. Azzaro, would appreciate this great because you are the master of the little Hasbro action figures.
Yes.
Your bag of 7 million of them. Paul Ellering pulled out a Hawk figure and put it on the podium.
No, that's pretty cool.
It was very, very special. The place went crazy. They were chanting LOD and they were getting choked up. It was a big moment. It would have been nice to see Hawk there. It was very, 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 very emotional.
This is also special. You can't go one episode without it,
Oh, God. I might actually have to sign up for. I believe it or not, don't have a Twitter account. I think I might have to just Twitter just to read this guy because he might actually be funnier than the real Duggan. But
he is awesome.
Yeah, but I know we kind of went off on that, but I agree that I felt like the Hall was kind of like, and I like Abdullah, and I do feel bad. He almost had the look in his face like I never wrestled here, so I don't know why I'm in this class either. But I'm trying to think who inducted him. Funk did. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, I felt like that they kind of rushed the Hall this year, and it kind of annoyed me a little bit. Like, you felt like they had all this time to kill, so why do they, like, take longer to do things and shorter to do others? Like, I just didn't understand.
Yeah, this definitely seemed rushed. The timing of the whole show was just weird, and like we said, the booking, and that really continued into our next match here. But before that happened, Booker T comes out to commentate, and I thought that was a funny spot, because I think a lot of people thought it was going to be JR. They're like, and now welcome to the commentary booth. And obviously the rumors of JR, and then Booker comes out, but then JR came out, so big pop. Yep. Then Michael Cole comes out, what I would consider both the best and worst ring gear of all time. The worst because he looked awful, and that's why it was so great, though. He had the orange singlet with the Team Cole on it, the Rick Steiner headgear, and he had his pot belly hanging out, and all his little tattoos, and
and he has no body hair. What the hell's wrong? It looks like a big ball of dough. He had like no
Kempatera's son.
Yeah, he had like no hair in his armpits. He had like no hair.
Kempatera, I meant actually to tell you this. He was on the Bobby Heenan DVD, and he looks very, very different than when we used to make fun of him with his hairless legs in 1987.
Oh Jesus, I'm gonna have to watch it now just for that. But yeah, this was the match that, and you talked about it. This is why I'm upset. This was the match that you talked about extensively in our preview show with Matt and Derek. I was calling him Daryl. And
like
Derek.
Daryl better than Derek.
I think we should start calling him Daryl. And you were pumped about it. And now you're getting me pumped about it. And I thought the match was going to be great. And it was just bleh. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just bleh. I agree with you. I mean, I don't think eventually we'll probably look at this WrestleMania and go, the pieces were there, but it could have been better. Mm-hmm. And this was one of the things where you're like, this could have been better.
Yep.
We all wanted Jerry to just beat the fucking shit out of him, bust him open, make him bleed, just rip him to shreds. And they didn't do that. they made it way too fluffy. And and again, Steve as the ref did nothing for me. But I thought he was better on Raw than he was at WrestleMania. But I don't know what you think about it.
Him as the ref, I thought was fine. Here, it was actually turned out better than I thought it was going to be. Going into it, I didn't want him to be the ref, but I was actually fine with it because I thought he ended up being almost the best part of the match, to be honest with you. I thought it started great. Well, at first it was funny when Swagger comes out and Steve almost ran him over with the four-wheeler. That was funny.
Yeah.
And then Cole hides in the coal mine.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Lawler's cape was fucking awesome. It was like throwback straight out of Memphis in 1983.
Oh, yeah.
That thing was epic. And I was so glad they had his old music back, too.
Yes, I was waiting for Austin Idol in the chicken coop cage at the Mid-South Coliseum. Yes, I agree.
That was a great entrance. Finally gets his Mania match. The match started so great with him reaching into Cole's glory hole, yanking him into the thing face first.
Yeah, with his big mushy face. Yes,
that was tremendous. The start was tremendous. All along I thought they should wait for Lawler to get his hands on Cole till the end of the match. After seeing that start, I wish they just had Lawler to squash him. They should have just beaten the shit out of him, and never, ever should they have had that long heat segment. Cole looked lost. He just kept kind of standing on Lawler's leg and then kind of kicking it and asking Swagger what to do, and then he put the ankle lock on, and that, I don't know, it was just kind of, I was really hoping for more out of this, and they did let me down. And then the end was good, though. Starting with when King came back and when Swagger threw the towel in and Steve just stares at him and wipes his head with it. That was great. Then he stunned him. And I fucking loved Austin's reaction to the Lawler's drop kick. It was great. Yeah. It was great when he pulled him up at 2 and him and Steve just stared at each other and made a funny face. And then
they're laughing. Yeah.
I love Steve asking slowly, "Do you give up?" when Cole was tapping. And then his rapid fire RSV-esque F word laden ring the bell, whatever the hell he was saying, that they had to bleep it out for like 7 seconds. So he was yelling, like, "Ring the fucking bell!" That was great. I thought the end was great. If they just took the middle out, I thought it would have been a great match. Yeah. It was a little better than Vince and Brett. But for the second straight year, we kind of had that non-wrestler epic build with a kind of a blah result. And then, of course, the post-match stuff, the Booker comes in, he gets stunned. That was pretty much to get him off commentary. Same thing with Josh Matthews. The GM reverses the decision. I thought all along Lawler should win, but I think it's better having Cole get a cheap win like that now that he can continue bragging and kind of keep things going a little bit with that asshole character that Vince seems to like so much. So, and of course, then from there on out, JR and King took over commentary.
And that at least saved the end of the show.
Yes.
I'm curious if they actually will do a... I think the one thing, before I mention that, I was about to say, I wonder if they'll do a rematch at Extreme Rules.
I don't think so. I think that part of the feud may be over. I think now it's just going to be Cole being an asshole to everyone.
Yeah. I was upset that and we can talk more about this when we get to Raw. I was upset that they made a big fucking stink about the Raw GM all over this show, and we still don't know who the hell it is. Why does Vince have such a hard-on for this stupid storyline? Just pick somebody, for Christ's sakes, all right? I mean, people are getting sick of it now.
I think it's going to be Cole in the end. I mean, after last night, I think it has to be. Whether or not they're going to do it, I don't know. But, I really thought it was going to end up... We were all thinking at Jim's house that it was going to be Rock at the end, and he was going to put himself in the match and win the title. We really thought that was going to happen. That he was going
awesome.
to reveal to be the GM. So... But anyway, so coming out of that, of course, next up was the big match here, Taker and Triple H. Great entrances from both. Of course, the rumors were swirling all weekend that Triple H, Metallica leaked on their Facebook page that Triple H would be using one of their songs. A lot of people correctly predicted it would be For Whom the Bell Tolls. I kind of liked how they swerved the fans a little bit with it, having the lights go out and then the gong ringing, and then it ended up being him instead of Taker. He had that crazy ass wardrobe on, and I kind of wish they showed him more with it on. I felt like you could barely see it. Like he had it, and then lights went out and he took it off. So it was kind of disappointing. I was hoping you get to see more of it.
I love the outfit.
It was cool. So his entrance, I thought, actually trumped Taker's this year. I thought Taker's was pretty basic.
I love the entrance. I love the and that was a good song. I wanted him to still come out to his. Believe it or not, though, I still wanted him to come out to his music though.
I wanted him to use King of Kings. I was a little disappointed to use the game.
Well, I thought he was going to use King of Kings when I saw our guys, Eves and Dr. G said the same thing. I thought because he had the the skull mask on. I thought he was going to actually use the King of Kings. And it was good. I mean, obviously you knew that the two entrances were going to eat up fucking 15 minutes or whatever the hell it was. But
now this match, I think I've heard it went long. I actually heard it went up to almost 10 minutes longer than it was supposed to. I don't know if that's true or not. If they're factoring in the ending part, that we'll get to in a second. But I don't know if that was all factored in. And I think that's part. And when we get to Cena Miz, we'll talk about this because I think they ended up getting cut short, and obviously the next match got cut short as well. So this is where the timing issues kind of came into play. These last three matches.
Obviously there were times, and even you had to admit, there were at least two moments where I literally almost crap myself thinking that, holy shit, he's actually going to do this.
The tombstone was where I thought it was over. I thought he was winning with the tombstone.
I thought the tombstone and the third pedigree. Taker literally I almost thought he was going to forget to kick out. That's how close it was. And when he hit the tombstone, I literally stared at the TV going, holy shit. I was already getting my text ready. I was already telling our friend G what kind of crap I was going to throw on boards and all this other, and he kicked out. And when he kicked out of that, I knew it was over. But one thing I have to say, and I think Triple H kind of admitted it in the big promo with Shawn last Monday. He said it. He said it to Shawn. Shawn, all you cared about was making the match great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if the match is a colossal piece of shit. I want to win. And that's exactly how the match was booked.
I want to stop you right there because that was true. It was a great point, and the match was booked that way. Until the spot where he crushes Taker in the head with a chair and then stands there and yells at him to stay down. Why would he do that? He kept saying he wanted to win. He never said he wanted to destroy Taker. He said he wanted to win the match. And I wish they could have come up with some way to either have Taker kick out of that or have Triple H fall down. He just kind of stood there and was yelling at him. And it just it took me out a little bit. And I've seen that complaint bounce around quite a bit since Sunday. That it just kind of didn't make sense for someone that was so hell-bent on ending the streak to kind of stand there after bashing a guy in the face with a chair and just kind of stand there and look at him was just kind of odd.
Yeah, I thought it was weird too. I thought he was just going to keep hitting him, and he ended up doing it a few minutes later. Yeah, maybe he was thinking of saying something else and just couldn't. I don't know. But yeah, that was kind of odd. But after that, the big moves and then the sledge and then all that other stuff. I thought that the storytelling between those two was tremendous. And
did you like how they came out with the fast start?
Yes.
Like the red hot, they just came right out of the gate.
I did.
Crazy.
I did. Because I had a feeling that they were going to slow it down and kind of storytell it in the last 10 or 11 minutes. So I enjoyed the fast and then just fucking throwing shit at each other. And I'm so glad the coal mine got destroyed. I thought that was great. And then, of course, it made it even funnier that he had it held together with police tape on Raw. That was funny, too.
That backdrop by Taker on Triple H to the floor off the table was fucking sick. And it looked like Triple H definitely fucked his wrist up.
Yeah, it looked like it hurt. It looked like he whacked his hip. He definitely looked like it hurt. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And
I've seen some complaints that they were selling, 5 minutes in like it had been a half hour. But, they came out of the gate so fast. And the story is that the two older guys, the two guys, just old guys beating the shit out of each other, that I was kind of fine with it slowing down.
Yeah, it's not like Sheamus and Orton or something. You're not dealing with 220-somethings. I mean, both guys are, one's in his 40s and one's close to 40. So, yeah, the yelling at him at the end, I thought that really didn't fit. But I tell you something. When he had him in the Go-Go Plata or whatever it's, the triangle choke. Hell's Gate, yeah, with a 50 fucking names for it. I swear to God, I don't know if they meant to do it or not, but it really looked like Triple H was trying to lift Taker off the ground.
I thought he was.
Which would have been sick.
I thought he was going to pick him up and powerbomb him. But I think
that would have been awesome. Oh my God, that would have been unbelievable.
Taker fucked it up a little bit. I think he was just so worn out that, he did have a hard time applying it. So that kind of looked a little messed up. I was fine with the finish. I liked Triple H teasing the sledge. I kept thinking he was actually going to get to hit him with it, and then they were going to keep going. But, Taker got the win as expected. The end, with Taker. That took a while for him to be carted out, and I think part of that was legit. I really think he did just get the shit kicked out of him. He did that crazy freaking dive. I wish he would stop doing that dive off the top. He looks like he's going to break his neck every time. He's going to
hurt. He's going to hurt himself one day. I don't disagree with you on that.
All those chair shots to the back. So that was fine. I thought they really did the drama of it. I kind of thought it'd be cool if they had the Druids come out and carry him off. But I was a little surprised also that Sean didn't get involved. I'm glad he didn't, but I'm surprised he didn't.
I'm surprised he didn't either. But I'm glad he didn't either.
I thought coming off Monday, he definitely was going to be involved. But we talked about this earlier. I see this. Sean Taker to me were great matches. This to me was an epic match, and there's a difference. This to me is more along the lines of the Hell in the Cell with Taker and Mick. Hogan Rock, where the match itself isn't great, but the epic feel of it and the big moves and the crowd, to me, this is one of those matches where you're never going to say it's 5 stars, but it is 5 stars when you factor in all the nuances to it. So to me, that's the difference. So I wouldn't say it's the best match on the card. It was the biggest match on the card, and the match you'll remember when you think of this show.
Yes, and it's a match that I could probably watch over. Do we have an actual time? Has anybody actually
29:22?
Wow.
It was a fast 29 minutes. I'll say that. It definitely did not feel like a half hour.
No, and I think the reason people think that way is because the first 10 minutes were so fast, with the big pins and all the shit going on outside and the backdrop and thrown through the coal mine and the table breaking and all this other stuff went so fast that all that really drawn out drama of the slow plodding bashing of the chair and all the pedigrees and all that kind of balanced it out. So it didn't seem like 30 drawn out minutes. It was like 13 fast minutes and 17 drama minutes is what it felt like.
Great match show. I mean, they did what they set out to do. They knew they weren't going to match Shawn Taker, but they didn't have to. So
no,
I give both credit. They both went out there and destroyed the bodies.
Yep, they went at a different philosophy than Taker and Shawn did, and Taker bludgeoned him while Shawn was supposed to duck and weave him, and it's 2 different ways of doing it. And will there be a rematch?
Rumor says right now they're planning on it, so we'll see.
And I'm sure at that point Triple H will do what Shawn did and put his career up next year in Miami, but we'll see. But yeah, I obviously I love the match. It's but there were a couple parts that were a little weird, but yeah, I think epic is a good word. Not 5 stars. I wasn't expecting it to be 5 stars, but it was epic. That's a great adjective.
All right, so let's quickly get to this next match because it was quickly done, and that is Laycool and Dolph Ziggler against the Brunette Mafia or whatever they call themselves, and Jomo, Trish, and Snooki. I thought Snooki was well used here. They didn't overpower us with her. She came out. She looked good for her. She hit 2 really good moves. The handspring butt bump I thought was really great. She nailed that perfectly. And the only thing she could have done better is if she would have sprayed mist in her eyes after she did it. But and then the flip splash thing was pretty good too. The cartwheel and then the flip. So I mean, this was fine for what it was. Morrison and Dolph, barely got in the match, but they did hit the one good spot, the Starship to the floor. I do wish they did one crazy move where Morrison and Snooki were in there together. So when they showed Snooki in these shows afterwards, Morrison would get seen as well, just to kind of get some pub. But I think they'll give Ziggler and Morrison a longer match at Extreme Rules to go out there and go nuts.
Yeah, I think this was just, if you were going to spend the money, it's not that they probably paid a lot for Snooki, but if you're going to have her there, you might as well make her be the showcase. I mean,
she did it. I mean, to her credit, she came out, she worked and hit her spot flawlessly, and that was it, So that was quick there. Then they move on quickly to the main event. You could tell at this point they were rushing a little bit, but I must give them full credit. I think that Miz video might have been one of the greatest videos I've ever seen.
It was awesome.
The song they picked, "Hate Me Now" by Nas and Puff Daddy, was. I never thought of how well it fit Miz's career, but listening to those words and seeing those clips of Miz, that song just fit him perfectly. It was great. I don't know, whoever came up with that deserves $1 million raise because, that was just tremendous.
Yeah, and that was, and I have to say, because we've talked about it not only on the live programming but on the DVDs, their production, which used to be spot on, has been a little shaky over the last couple of years. But that production, that piece, reminded me of back in the Attitude Era and into the early 2000s when they were just so fluid and so crisp with their production values. That thing was unbelievable.
Yeah,
and then
great.
and the Cena one I thought was pretty good as well with all the Bible passages and the huge friggin' choir.
Well, that was actually.
You figured.
I don't know if you knew that was DMX reading the Bible passages.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I knew his voice sounded familiar. I knew it was one of those rappers.
I was dying. I was praying that they were going to have the gospel singers sing Cena's song and sing them to the ring. I wish they did it. That would have been so great to hear them sing.
That would have been great.
So yeah, he had his new shirt, red shirt. That I actually saw on Twitter. Someone tweeted that they were going to have that because they were already selling it at the merchandise stand. So you knew he was going to have it. I was a little surprised they didn't really mention either of these guys all night until the main event. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, they didn't show them. Usually they have like cross-promoting things, Edge, like the two title guys. I'm surprised Edge Miz didn't talk in the middle, or
they never even mentioned either of them. I think outside of Rock, dissing Cena a couple times. I don't think the announcers ever really talked about him either. So this match though was pretty fucked from the start. I think they knew that they were getting fucked on time, and it looked like it threw them off completely. The match is just very herky-jerky. I really expect them to deliver more than they did. I feel bad that they got put in the spot that they did. I thought they were set up to fail from the start with the stupid finish that they had.
Yes.
I thought this should have been in the middle. I know you want Rock at the end, but knowing how they were going to book things, there's no way this should have went last. It should have been in the middle. It should have ended with Taker and Triple H. I don't know. I don't know if they were screwed with time and they were pissed, or they screwed with time and it fucked with their heads. But they just did not look right out there.
Yeah,
I feel bad because I'd hate it if Miz catches the shit for this and they end up taking the title off. I'm thinking he's the one that made this bomb because this is far from the truth.
Bullshit. No, once again, the Vince needs to take some goddamn responsibility for once, because this is his fault. All right, because we finally read, we've been reading, and you mentioned it earlier, that his head was so up his ass for the last 7 days as to how to lay the show out. And I mean, I cannot wait. And I know this is me, this is me talking, and you can all make fun of me if you want, but I honestly can't wait until Triple H takes over creative. Because we will not see this kind of clusterfuck ever again. I don't know what the hell Vince's problem was this week, but he was so scared shitless of what to do with this show that I think the whole thing was a complete clusterfuck. And this was he couldn't have possibly watched this main event enjoying this. And they better not play. This is not Miz's fault. It's certainly not Cena's fault. I don't even think it's Rock's fault. This is
very poorly done. Yeah.
It was just laid out like I don't know what the hell was going on. And I knew the double countout wasn't going to last. And all of a sudden, the Rock just starts to restart the match. I mean, where does he get I don't know. The whole thing just seems so...
Yeah, exactly.
So freakish. I don't know what it was. It was just so freakish. And then once the restart happened, I still didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't think Rock was going to actually hit him.
I thought he was going to win. I really thought he was going to end up putting himself in the match and winning the title. I think that would have been better than what happened.
You know what? If you were going to put the match last, you might as well have done that.
Yeah, pull a WrestleMania 9, whatever. At this point, that was actually a pretty sick bump that Cena Miz took. I'll give them that. It definitely was. And then when the ref got to like 7, I'm like, oh my god, they're going to do this. And then it didn't really hit me until then. But Miz got a legit concussion from his head smack off the concrete.
Yeah.
So the spot was sick, but the whole thing was just really fucked up from the start. I think these guys, like I said, they were set up to fail. Then have a Miz, look like an idiot, getting the shit kicked out of him by The Rock after you have him hold on to the title through that means. The whole thing was just kind of a disaster.
Right now, and I think this whole booking mess, in my opinion, pushed over to Raw on Monday night, because I think Raw was booked kind of on a napkin too. Somebody needs to start taking accountability somewhere in that backstage. It all started for me when they fired Finlay over that ridiculous thing where they had. First of all, the idea of having Miz cut off the national anthem was dumb to begin with, but firing Finlay for that was way too over the top.
But I think the problem was National Guard is a huge sponsor for them, and somebody had to take the fall. I think he'll be back. I think that was a wink fire.
Is that like a Daniel Bryan kind of thing?
Yeah, it's almost like I think it'll be like a vacation.
I think
he'll be back before the end of the year without a doubt.
Yeah.
I think.
But there seems to be some sort of disorganization going on in the hierarchy right now. Believe it or not, maybe I'm just saying this because he's not there, but in terms of the organization of the show, you know who they needed Sunday? They needed Shane. They needed somebody who knows these, who's young enough. I mean, he's not young. He is still relatively young. Who understands the audience to go, all right, Dad, relax. Let me handle the skits. You handle the matches, and it'll be fine. Instead, Vince just felt like he took everything on his own and laid out this big pile of shit. Instead of, he went back to being the old Vince where he didn't trust anybody. And somebody like Shane would have been, Stephanie didn't know what the fuck to do, obviously. She's not even there now, I guess. She's watching the kids or whatever. So I don't know what the deal is now. But I feel like there's a power vacuum in the management of WWE. I mean, it just seems like it. How do you take a show as big as this and a big stage with a big arena and completely lay I don't want to say a stink bomb. Again, I agree with you, Justin. You can't fail WrestleManias now. They're
too solid.
They're too solid to fail. However, looking back, and maybe we need time, maybe we could talk about it in like July or August or September. Looking back, this is one of those shows where you go, oh, God, that sucked. You're going to look at it and go, this show could have been so great.
Right, exactly.
If they actually planned it right.
Yeah, a lot of dismissed potential.
Really, they had so many great matches. They had a lot of good celebrities. And the whole thing was just imbalanced. It seemed like it started off strong, and then... And I don't want Triple H. And you know what's going to happen? Oh, so Triple H wanted his big ego to make this match.
No. For once, I'm with you. I don't think it was him.
No, I think that the Bookers mishandled that main event. I don't think it's any of the talent's fault. It's not Miz's fault. It's not Cena's fault. It's not. I think the two of them went, well, what the fuck are we supposed to do now? It's like 10:50. What the hell are we supposed to do?
And you know, I'm hoping this isn't becoming an epidemic where Mania is getting so big that they don't know how to handle it. Because I feel like last year had the most interest in a long time going into a Mania, and that ended up being kind of disappointing as well.
Right.
So I'm just kind of worrying that this thing is getting too big for them to understand how to manage, you know? Like, there's just so much going on. They got to do so much and fit so much. I'm just a little bit worried that it's almost like overwhelming for them at this point.
Well, now you're, and we'll talk about this in a moment, they really painted themselves into a corner now. For those that watched Raw on Monday night, before we get to Raw, let's finish up our thing. Overall, I enjoyed the show very much. I love the matches. The main matches all delivered for me, except the main event. But again, we know whose blame it is there, or what department's blame it is. Rock did not. I didn't like Rock. You know what? The only part about the Rock at the end that annoyed me was he had a hard on for Cena, and that's fine. But why knock Miz out?
Yeah,
Let Miz
that was
leave.
Unnecessary.
Let Miz leave.
And the problem, too, is you made people pay for Rock, but what did he do more than what he did on Raw last week?
Yeah, I mean, he did a couple of skits backstage. We got to see him and Steve on camera, which is always awesome. But, I don't know. I thought that Rock ending the show kind of took... I felt bad for Cena and Miz from the beginning. And I don't say that much about Cena.
No, I agree. I think they got set up to fail.
They got set up to fail and be forgotten.
Yep.
And it was all about Rock at the end. Yeah, it was almost like they didn't trust the talent. So a lot of Rock and a lot of Steve, and everything will be fine. Like it's 2000 all over again. That concerns me. But overall, as for what we got, in terms of the matches, I enjoyed it. I
got to go thumbs in the middle, just balancing out. I thought the booking and timing was awful, but I thought the matches, everyone worked hard. No one dogged it. The in-ring action was all very good. And the arena was great. So I'd say, in the middle, slightly up. Maybe like right now, I don't like grading things this quickly, but I'd probably go like maybe C+.
I'd probably go C+ too. So. Maybe leaning towards a C because that main event that whole last 25, 30 minutes just left a bad taste in my mouth.
All right, now let's just quickly hit the major things from Raw because we're running a little bit long here. But the big news, of course...
After we had such a good, blustering MLB preview.
Well, we knew that would probably happen. That's why we tried to get through the MLB.
Yeah.
But Triple H's first one out comes out basically.
What did you think of that promo?
I thought it was good. I thought it was good. He he hit the respect part. It may is a little bit long, but it's Triple H at this point. He's been gone for a year. To me, I know normally I get pegged as a Triple H hater, but I was actually fine with him. He's been gone for a year. I kind of missed him a little bit, and I'm not tired of him. You know what I mean? Like I think that year off really helped him. I was fine with his long match. I was fine with his long promo, his delivery. Like I was just fine with it because I haven't dealt with it weekly for the last year. Mm-hmm. So I thought the promo was good, and he basically just said, "Take her when you come back. I'll be waiting." Now I read that originally they were thinking about SummerSlam, and now they're saying that they're going to fight again next year at Mania. I don't know if that's the best idea. I just don't know where. I don't know if Triple H is the guy that you're going to believe is going to end the streak at this point. But I don't know who else to turn to, because I thought maybe they were going to take a Cena. But as we see later, Cena now is already taken for WrestleMania next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's where I stand with that. I thought it was a good promo. They set the stage, added a little intrigue. Now you're wondering, when is Taker coming back?
Yeah, and I think the other good thing about that is it actually will make SmackDown a more watchable show now, because that technically is Taker's show. So
yeah, I don't think he'll be on much though.
No, probably not. But my point is, will he come back to that? He'll probably just come back to Raw.
Yeah, I don't think he'll. I don't think so.
I like the promo too. It was succinct. I don't think it was long, but it was succinct. He got his points out, and he had the respect factor. The fact he admitted that he was nervous. You never think hit Triple H anything like that. Or he said something else in that promo that surprised me. I don't remember what it was, but he said something that it did. I have to watch it again. He said something that I never would have expected him to say, and I can't remember what it is. But
he talked about that they wrestled at 17.
Yeah, and I've wrestled him at Mania before. They finally mentioned after being told, don't talk about it for fucking 6 weeks, and you can talk about it now.
So
it was weird.
Coming out of that, Cole came out. He did his great job, basically saying he's 1-0. He's Mr. WrestleMania. Basically what you'd expect for him after winning that match.
Well, first off, I loved seeing JR and King to start. That was great.
Yeah, that was a nice
treat.
treat.
We realized that was a cruel tease, but I enjoyed seeing that. I was like, oh man, are we really back to normal? This is great.
And then Cole came out and said King's going to get a rematch, and they thought they were going to fight, but he ended up saying rematch with Swagger. Of course, Swagger ends up winning. Cole squirts the barbecue sauce on JR, and he leaves. Maybe they are building to a rematch. Maybe they're going to do something Cole and King at Extreme Rules for the commentary spot, something like that. Maybe saying JR and King get Raw if he wins, something along those lines. But Josh and Booker ended up coming out, and the two of them with Cole did the rest of the night. So,
have you enjoyed? What have you thought about Booker on commentary so far?
I like him. I mean, I just maybe it's because he's someone fresh. I know he is hard to understand sometimes. He is. Sometimes he kind of starts mumbling and you don't really follow what he's saying. But I think overall, it's a new role for him. It's going to take time. I don't think he. That's why I think it's good for him to maybe still be on SmackDown overall, where he can continue to kind of improve.
Right, I agree. Okay, I was just curious. I like Booker. It is probably the freshness of the guy that's more than the actual meat and potatoes of the commentary. But
and then of course we had the cool little Austin segment where he introduced all Tough Enough people. Just good seeing him on again, and he looks awesome. He really looks great. He looks to be in great shape, and Miz comes out and gets in Austin's face, and then him and A-Ride jump Austin, and Austin just looked awesome, beating the shit out of A-Ride, hit his press, hit the elbow, hit the stunner, and he just looks so crisp, and I feel like he could be working a full schedule right now if he wanted to. Probably.
By the way, before we forget, we also had a nice Triple H and Stone Cold face to face.
Yes.
And when Austin actually told him, I want to be there next time. And I think he meant it. So, yeah. So that was a nice moment too. But yeah, Steve looks great. But here's where the booking comes in. So are they feuding? What's Miz doing now? Or was this just to hold Miz over and they can resume a Cena Miz thing this coming Monday? This was just like the give them each something to do because Cena has to do something else later, so have Miz do something now, and we'll deal with them next week.
I hope. I actually hope they move away from Cena Miz, and we'll get to that in 1 second because we're going to bitch about Cena.
Yeah.
But let's get there. So the Austin thing was cool.
Yes.
Other than that, pretty basic show. Until Sheamus beat Daniel Bryan, the match we didn't get at Mania still only went just 4 minutes. But in a cool little spot, Sin Cara made his debut, comes out and just really puts on a laser show. Flying all around the ring, takes Sheamus out, points at him. That was a cool introduction for that guy without having a match. I think that.
Yeah, he looked great. Talking to our man Matt Rotella yesterday, or today, it was today actually. He seems to think that Sin Cara is going to stay on Raw, and I was reading that he's going to go to SmackDown. I think this was just to give him a fresh live pop. I think he is going to go to SmackDown. I think he's more needed on that show than he is on Raw. That's just my opinion. But I haven't heard that he's supposed to go to Raw. I've heard that he is supposed to stay on SmackDown. So that was just for the fresh live pop.
Maybe. So we'll see. We'll see where he ends up. So moving on from then, obviously Cena comes out, and this is what we both had a problem with. He just lost a chance for the world title at WrestleMania. Got screwed by The Rock, lost to The Miz. And he comes out giggling and laughing, saying at least it wasn't a draw, smirking and smiling. It's like, sell it a little bit, will you?
Yeah, stop being so goddamn happy.
Yeah.
Okay? It's okay to be mean in front of the kids. Okay? Stop being so fucking happy all the time. All you're doing is now you're legitimizing why guys hate you. Okay? You should be furious right now.
Yes.
Don't giggle. Oh, wait a minute. I'm supposed to be mad now. Okay, come out now, Rock. Like it's like he's turning it on and turning it off.
Yeah,
I
agree.
And I think that's where people are. That's where the male fans, and see, you and I are the perfect example, are getting irritated with him now. Okay, you need to be angry. All right, you just got fucked in front of 71,000 people, and you're like, oh, I kind of did it to him, so har har har. Oh, and then all the kids are like, yeah, that's okay. No, it's not okay. If this was 10 years ago and it was after WrestleMania 6, I'm sure Rock wasn't giggling after Vince hit him with a chair in Anaheim at WrestleMania 16. Okay, I'm sure he wasn't it just it made me so mad.
It was annoying, and of course, then they end up setting up Rock. They say they want to fight. Rock says, "Let's make history. Let's do it at WrestleMania next year." So now they're basically setting up next year's, main event a year ahead of time. Do you think, I'll put you on the spot right now, do you think, as we're doing the 100th episode of this podcast a year from now, and we're doing the preview, is this match happening?
Yes.
Okay.
I think
you think they hold it? Okay.
Yeah, they have no choice.
You don't think they panic and do it sooner?
No. Okay. I think they have no choice now. They were stupid enough to do it, and I think they're gonna hold to it. I was saying to you when we were doing pre-production today, and I told Matt Rotella, I think they're gonna put a clock on the fucking website.
I think if they're going to do it right. Put the clock on the website, hang the banner in the arena, do the countdown every week, make it like Hogan Sting, just build and build and build. Or don't do this at all. If you're going to set it up now and then not talk about it for 8 months, it's stupid. And now Cena, I hope he stays away from Miz. Give Miz somebody else. I think what would be cool is Cena either feuds with the Core, or you have Cole, maybe feud with the Core now for a few months, and then Cole puts together a little stable of heels and goes after Cena for the rest of the year. Something to keep him out of the title picture until, Rock comes back and they start doing their thing. That's what I would do. I'd kind of keep him away from your main storylines, downplay him a little bit, and then build him back up as the year turns next year.
I have a feeling that we're going to see Miz kind of bounce around between opponents, and I think between now and July, what they're going to do is, we'll talk more about this as time progresses. I'm curious to hear what our good friend Graham Cawthon says when we have him on in a couple weeks, or in a week or so. I'm curious as to, between now and July, when we have the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, who will win the Raw Money in the Bank. My bet right now is on John Morrison.
Yeah, I could definitely see him and Miz at SummerSlam if they don't do the Miz Rock thing. Do you think Rock wrestles between now and Mania, or do you think that'll be his first match?
Who are you going to give him? Does he wrestle Miz?
That was the rumor, is that he was going to fight Miz at SummerSlam and Cena at Mania. But, if you're building to this year-long battle with Cena and you're announcing it now, does it take something away to have him fight, in between?
Other guys?
Yeah.
Maybe. Hey, you know what? I'm glad I'm not them.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Because I'll tell you something. You made a good point that last night, Sunday night, they almost felt like they were overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you something right now. They botch this next year in Miami, they're fucked. Because
and they have to really I lost my train of thought. Finish yours.
Well, I'm saying because you know what? Then we got 30, and we'll probably be there. So I want 30 to be special, because that might be the year they finally induct Savage.
No, they got 2 more to 30.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting. The following year, yeah. Well, that's in Vancouver. They could probably do whatever they want with it. Well, that's rumored to be in Vancouver.
Yeah. But they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves too, in a way, because this is a big risk. Rock could get a big movie deal.
And not be gone.
Cena could get hurt. There's so many things that could happen. They'd be almost better off having Cena wrestle for a few months now and then take the rest of the year off and train and say, I'm going into training for this match, if they want to make it legit, almost like an MMA kind of thing. Say, this is such a big match. I'm not taking a chance getting hurt. I'm going to go and I'm going to train for this match. And Rock can say the same. I'm not doing a movie. I'm training for this match.
Yeah,
and have them both be off camera training for a while, to lower the risk of maybe injury that could, fuck this thing up.
Yeah, they really have to. I hope that taking. I mean, I'm sure they are, but they really do have to take this pretty seriously because they're really taking a big risk here, and considering that they really clusterfuck this show on Sunday, I'm nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm nervous because if they blow this, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know. You and I will be doing UFC podcasts. I don't know.
It'll be interesting, and we'll we got plenty of time to get to it, so we'll get to it as we move on. But let's just we got 2 pieces of feedback I want to do, and then we'll wrap up.
I'll do the feedback. Yeah, and I want to talk about our next podcast tomorrow.
So. Okay, so first we have a email from Danny Goncalves. I hope I'm saying that right. This is our first real. Actually, we get 2 this week. Are a little testy. I like it. Finally, bringing out some passion from these listeners of ours. And Danny comes out firing with a great email entitled, "Great job, Scott. Justin, you're okay." And now I never thought I'd be the heel. I thought you would be. Just you're the old and grizzled, angry bastard. So I figured you would be the guy to get the first hate mail, not me. So Danny comes out saying, "Been following all of your podcasts, and we thank you for that." And Scott, I feel we are brothers from a different mother. Now, I'm not sure if he means twin brother because he's 30 and you're 60. So maybe he's like your long lost son from some affair you had or something. He said, I am 30 years old and my first image of wrestling is March 29th, 1987, sitting in front of the TV watching Hercules cut a promo on Billy Jerk Haynes. I love that there. And I was hooked from that moment. I can never get tired of watching that event, and I've watched it 200 times. Justin, trust me, I tell you that is not overrated as a card. Every single match meant something back then and told a good story. Also, Scott, I don't know if it's just me, but I always loved watching my recorded version of the show from '87 rather than the DVD release, just because I get the original music, and it just isn't the same without that original music. I could care less about picture quality. Isn't great. Great job, guys, and keep it up. May WrestleMania 3 live forever. So, Danny, thank you for that excellent feedback. Yes. I did get a response out to you. I respect WrestleMania 3. I don't have that reverence because I didn't watch it live. I understand why people do revere it. But bring it. I don't mind. I like bringing out that passion. I like when you and I differ on things, and I enjoy that, getting those types of emails.
Well, that's good. And while you and Andrew Reich are, spooning with your little WrestleMania 6 tape in Niagara Falls on your little picnics on the beach, Danny and I will be sitting at a fireplace watching Coco Beware and not Coco, Coco and Butch Reed. So, Danny, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. And continue to bring the feedback. Hit us up at that email like you did, or hit us up on Facebook page if you have Facebook. Or come on to our board, bigelow34proboards.com. Join the fun. If you're not already, I'm not sure. You may be a poster there. I was unclear, but, thank you for bringing the heat. We appreciate it. And also bringing the heat is our longtime close personal friend and dedicated listener, and that's Josh Richer.
Yes.
He started a little debate on our Facebook page with Leanne and myself. And he's a little behind on some of these episodes. He's catching up. So he says on the Leanne Griffin Jersey Shore episode, Jersey Shore is horrible. It's like Real Housewives shows and wrestling, scripted but real. Now that I saw the situation of the Trump roast, I think it's even worse. Number 2, I share Scott's groan in the fact that they're taking these ugly Americans overseas. Our reputation is bad enough. 3, honey is and this is about the food part, I'm guessing. Honey is designated by the flowers bees pollinate from. Clover honey is honey from clovers. Wildflowers, orange blossom, and the blossom of orange trees. It can get very specific, and like in good beers, the flavors can make the impact if the palate is discerning enough. Leanne was a great special guest, which I agree, and you agree. Too bad the shore played so much into this episode. And then he clarified himself, saying, I don't dislike wrestling, but he's just talking about how things are scripted. So Leanne came back a little bit, defended her love of Jersey Shore, so did I. We both kind of just said... that we think we watch it for the entertainment, not because we think it's any kind of legitimate form of entertainment, or supposed to be taken seriously. Her and I both take the same tact on it, that it's meant to be laughed at.
Right. I don't hate the show. I've never said I hate the show. Josh is a little more harsh on the show than I am. I don't dislike it. I don't watch it as consistently as you guys do, but when I do get a chance, I will watch full episodes. In fact, I was probably badly watching right before our St. Patrick's Day party a couple weeks ago. I was actually watching it with my goddaughter, and you know her, and I'm thinking to myself, and this one's a sponge for anything television. I should probably not have her watching this.
Yeah, probably not.
But it was the episode actually where Snooki got arrested for being shit-faced on the beach, and the whole thing with JWoww and her stupid boyfriend, and then they go to the house and he cleans out the house, takes the bed, and steals the watch or some shit. I don't know. But those are the episodes I was watching. And actually, I didn't realize how much you're gonna think I'm crazy because I hated her when I first saw her, but
Dina?
Angelina, is that her name?
Dina's the new girl.
Dina. I don't hate her as much as I thought I did originally.
She's all right. She's kind of harmless. She's just kind of there for mid-card.
She just wants to have fun. Yeah, she wants to have fun.
Yeah, she's like the Santino of that show.
Yeah.
Never gonna get a big push, but she's there to provide the laughs.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we should.
So I don't hate the show as much as Josh does.
All right. Well, Josh, thank you for bringing us that comment,
yes.
And thank you for being a dedicated listener. We are going to have Josh on, actually. Him and Leanne will be part of our Office preview when that show starts winding down in May. So that's something we have planned coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow night, we will be doing the Royal Rumble 1988 podcast review. So I know you guys enjoy those reviews. We're going to keep bringing those to you. We're hoping to get Graham Cawthon next week. He's actually at SmackDown tonight. He hit everything over this weekend, Ring of Honor, Access, Mania, Raw, SmackDown. He did it all. So we want to talk to him about that. And then also we are going to do an NBA playoff preview in the next couple of weeks as well, yes, with Andrew Reich and Jordan Duncan. So hopefully we'll have those things out to you. Keep bringing us the feedback. Hit us up on the board. Thank you for listening. For Scott Criscolo, I am Justin Rosero, and we are out of here.
Peace.